Warrior Lore. Chapter 36:16. The Taishui Demon King is suppressing the Frost Divine Dragon. If the battle continues, the Taishui Demon King's experience will allow him to slay the Frost Divine Dragon. The old scholar is obviously confident that he can kill the woman in red, not to mention the sorcerer from the Black Tower. That's why I'm sure that the Dragon Palace will be destroyed soon. It should be. To be able to invite Taishui Demon King, the Black Tower sorcerer, and the old scholar at the same time, they must have paid a great price. TSK. Did the Angel Clan intervene? The experts of Dragon Palace are indeed strong. It's a pity that they met the Black Tower sorcerer and the old scholar, the top experts of our invincible domain. Indeed. The top experts of our invincible domain can easily defeat more than 10 experts of the same level. The primordial treasure shrouded the Dragon Palace, making it impossible to see what was going on inside. The experts of the invincible domain spoke out of boredom, their voices echoing in the sky above the heaven-eternal river. When they spoke, there was a hint of arrogance. Arrogance towards the strength of the experts of the invincible domain. Of course, this arrogance came from their strong confidence. Is it really as they say? Is the Dragon Palace really going to be destroyed? It should be. Did you guys feel it? The experts of the invincible domain are very scary. We must not provoke them. Experts of their level can't be wrong. One should know that among them, there are experts from the top clans such as Angel, Devil, Nether, Divine Tiger, and Black Tortoise. The Dragon Palace is finished. This is the will of the Angel Clan. After all, the Angel Clan is too scary. Even if they don't go out, they have thousands of ways to destroy the Dragon Palace. When some of the disciples heard the invincible domain's experts discussing amongst themselves, they also whispered to each other. They were all in awe of the invincible domain and the experts of the invincible domain. Some of the experts' disciples took out the universe AI and sent the situation over immediately. Some experts directly edited the message. Dragon Palace is now sealed by the 3 terrifying existences of the invincible domain. Although we can't see the situation inside, there are experts of the invincible domain around. Many experts from the top clans say that the Dragon Palace is going to be destroyed. The 3 experts of Taishui Demon King are very scary. After editing the message, he directly sent it out. At this moment, the universe's AI was boiling. An old monster like Taishui Demon King who had come from ancient times to challenge the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace had already attracted the attention of countless experts and disciples. However, when Taishui Demon King arrived, he wasn't the only one. There were 2 terrifying existences from the invincible domain, as well as over 70 Third Order sovereigns from the 6 major races. The AI was shocked. They knew that this was no ordinary challenge. They were here to destroy the Dragon Palace. This attracted the attention of all the disciples on the universe AI. Countless people were discussing, would the Dragon Palace be destroyed by the experts of the invincible domain? Wouldn't the Dragon Palace be destroyed? There were all sorts of discussions. But when the latest news was passed on, everyone was even more shocked. Is Dragon Palace really going to be destroyed? Did the experts of the invincible domain really say that? It seems that the Dragon Palace is doomed. The dark horse of the Dragon Palace's counterattack will eventually come to an end. After all, the Angel Clan is responsible for the destruction of the Dragon Palace. On the universe AI, a few experts and disciples from the various powers couldn't help but feel pity for Dragon Palace. The last hope of the Divine Dragon Clan, the strongest force of the Divine Dragon Clan, was finally going to be destroyed. Many experts and disciples discussed. At the same time, they felt the terror of the invincible domain. Dragon Palace's strength was only this terrifying. Dragon King's strength was only this strong. Mutant purebred Divine Dragon, Dragon King of Dragon Palace, still wasn't a match for the old monsters of the invincible domain. One could imagine how terrifying the invincible domain was. It was indeed worthy of the name of the invincible domain. Just as the experts and disciples of the various races were discussing on the universe AI, above the heaven-eternal river, the experts of the invincible domain were still chatting. Just as those experts and disciples were waiting for the news, waiting for Dragon Palace to be completely destroyed. Below, the energy that enveloped the Dragon Palace slowly began to dissipate. The dissipation of the energy enveloping the Dragon Palace instantly attracted the attention of the surrounding old monsters of the invincible domain. They looked over in shock. 10 minutes. In just 10 minutes, Black Tower's Tai Shui Demon King and Old Scholar have already destroyed the Dragon Palace? An old monster of the Divine Tiger clan said doubtfully. That's about it. Old Scholar said to destroy the woman in red from the Dragon Palace in 5 minutes. After that, it'll be simple. Beside him, his companion nodded. However, he didn't finish his words. His eyes widened, and he stared at the scene below in disbelief. What did he see? The Dragon Palace was intact, and the disciples of the Dragon Palace were standing there calmly. These are the top experts of the invincible domain? In my opinion, they're trash. Too trash. Haha, that's right. They even acted tough in front of our Dragon King and said that they would take the head of our Dragon King. Just those 3 trash? They're indeed trash. Our Dragon King kills trash with one move. Everyone says that the experts of the invincible domain are powerful. In my opinion, they're just trash. Haha, it's mainly because our Dragon King is too powerful. However, the invincible domain is indeed worthy of its name. These top experts can be easily killed by our Dragon King. Invincible domain? Hee, I think our Dragon Palace should change its name to Invincible Dragon Palace. Haha, that's possible. The 6 major races still dare to attack us. Now, clean up the corpses and bring them to the Dragon Palace. Below the Universe Lord Realm, our Dragon King is invincible. The rest are trash. 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 At this time, a leisurely voice filled with mockery and disdain could be heard. All the old monsters of the invincible domain widened their eyes as they looked at the few figures in the Dragon Palace. Their bodies trembled violently. What was going on? High Water Demon King was dead? Black Tower Sorcerer was dead? Old Scholar was dead? 3 of their top experts from the invincible domain died just like that? Cough cough. How is this possible? How is this possible? It's only been 10 minutes and they're all dead. High Water Demon King, Black Tower Sorcerer, and Old Scholar are the top experts of the invincible domain. An old monster from the Angel clan widened his eyes as he roared in disbelief. 10 minutes, 71 First Order Universe Lords, and 3 old monsters of the invincible domain. How strong is the Dragon Palace? How strong is the Dragon King? An old monster from the Divine Tiger clan, a Peak clan, opened his mouth and said in shock, "Is there really invincible enemies in this world?" An old monster from the Sage bloodline murmured. Everyone was shocked. Invincible below the Universe Lord Realm? Really? Chapter 36:17. Is there really an invincible enemy in this world? The words of an old monster from the invincible realm caused all the experts of the invincible realm to tremble. Was there really an invincible enemy in this world? In the invincible domain, Tai Shui Demon King, the Old Scholar, and the Black Tower Sorcerer were definitely the strongest group of people. There were people stronger than them in the invincible domain, but most of them had lost their minds. They were like wild beasts, difficult to communicate with. They were called crazy demons. But even those crazy demons couldn't kill Tai Shui Demon King, the Black Tower Sorcerer, and the Old Scholar at the same time. Even if the Black Tower Sorcerer and the Black Tower Sorcerer weren't killed by the Dragon King alone, but it definitely had something to do with the Dragon King, Tai Shui Demon King, and the Frost Divine Dragon of the Dragon Palace. They saw the battle between the Old Scholar and the red-robed woman from the Dragon Palace. The 2 experts from the Dragon Palace weren't as strong as Tai Shui Demon King and the Old Scholar. Then, after the primordial spirit treasure sealed the Dragon Palace, the 3 of them disappeared within 10 minutes. From what the Dragon Palace experts said, they were all killed. Similarly, along with the 3 experts from the invincible domain, there were 71 Third Order Universe Sovereigns. How strong was the Dragon Palace to be able to kill them all at the same time? How strong was the Dragon King? Was it really, as they said, invincible under the Universe Sovereigns? The experts from the invincible domain were shocked. That Dragon King's strength is definitely terrifying. A dozen elves from the City clan stared at the Dragon Palace with widened eyes, their faces filled with shock. The Black Tower sorcerer had already broken the Dragon Palace's array, but the Dragon Palace was still able to kill them even after losing such a powerful trump card. The Dragon King must be the main reason for this. Definitely very terrifying. That Frost Divine Dragon called the Dragon King Master, then the Dragon King's strength must be very terrifying. And I'm guessing that the Dragon King is a variant Divine Dragon. An elf's eyes flashed as he spoke. There's an 80% chance of that happening. Let's go back and ask the elders in our clan. They should know that if he's also a mutated Divine Dragon, and he has our elf clan's companion elf, he might really be able to defeat the Black Tower's mages easily. The other elves nodded their heads in agreement. Compared to the experts of the invincible domain, the experts and disciples of the forces of the inner continents were even more shocked. Although they didn't know how strong Demon King Taishui and the others were, they knew how powerful the Sacred Dragon bloodline, the Shepherd tribe, the Ghoul tribe, the Light Insect tribe, the Light Giant tribe, and the Black Fog tribe were. This time, there were a total of 71 Third-Order sovereigns who had come with them. That was a Third-Order sovereign realm expert. But now, there was no aura at all. Obviously, they had been annihilated by the Dragon Palace. In just 10 minutes, 71 Third-Order sovereigns and 3 old monsters from the invincible domain were annihilated by the Dragon Palace. The strength of Dragon Palace was invincible. This strength, is it invincible under the peak races? More or less. I think the Dragon Palace is almost invincible among the top races. I think even the technological world is not as strong as the Dragon Palace, right? It's too terrifying. We thought that the Dragon Palace would be destroyed just now. In the end, the 3 old monsters of the invincible domain and all the experts were killed. How strong is the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace? The experts and disciples of the various races discussed in shock. At the same time, in the Dragon King Hall of the Dragon Palace, Wang Xian was counting the spoils of war. There were a total of 6 innate cardinal treasures. 1 from Demon King Taishui, 1 from the Black Tower, 1 from the Giant Tribe of Light, 1 from the Black Fog Tribe, 1 from the Ghoul Tribe, and 1 from the Shepherd Tribe. There was 1 Water Attribute, 3 Darkness Attribute, 1 Light Attribute, and 1 Metal Attribute. 6 innate cardinal treasures, and over 400 innate spiritual treasures. Speaking of which, the number of innate spiritual treasures this time could not be compared to the previous harvest. The previous harvest was over 2,000 innate spiritual treasures, but the value this time was much higher than the previous harvest. Innate cardinal treasures. 1,000 innate spiritual treasures for 1 innate cardinal treasure might not even be worth it. Other than these treasures, there were also the corpses. These corpses could allow the Dragon Palace to produce over 80 Third-Order sovereigns. Just the Black Tower sorcerers alone could allow the Dragon Palace to produce 5 to 6 Third-Order sovereigns. The accumulation of these 3 old monsters of the invincible domain was too strong. Although the harvest this time is huge, it's not enough for me and the 5 elements grindstone to make a breakthrough. We need to exchange these primordial cardinal treasures for resources. Wang Xian mumbled to himself as he looked at his harvest this time. The rewards were bountiful, but he couldn't use them. For example, the resources that Wang Xian needed to upgrade himself and the 5 elemental innate spiritual treasures that the 5 elements grindstone needed to upgrade. There was a metal attribute connate cardinal treasure, but the grindstone couldn't absorb it at the moment. Turtle Prime Minister, send out an announcement on the universe's AI system. Our Dragon Palace will be holding an auction where we will auction all kinds of connate spirit treasures of light, metal, and darkness attributes, as well as connate spirit treasures of light and darkness attributes. Wang Xian pondered for a moment before ordering Prime Minister Turtle. There were many treasures in the Dragon Palace, and many of them were unusable. The Dragon Palace also had the Light Divine Dragon. The primordial treasures were also very useful to Roving Demon and the others. But for now, it was more important for Wang Xian to improve his strength. He wanted to auction some treasures so that the 5 elements grindstone and his strength could break through. As long as the 5 elements grindstone and his strength broke through, he would be even more terrifying. At that time, he would be able to kill someone at the level of Demon King Tai Shui in an instant. He wouldn't be able to resist at all. Archangel Gabriel could also be killed by Wang Xian in an instant. Yes, Dragon King. Prime Minister Turtle nodded immediately. He made a move and flew out of the Dragon Palace immediately. Many experts from the invincible domain had yet to leave the sky and surroundings of the Heaven Everlasting River. 2 years later, our Dragon Palace will be holding an auction. At that time, there will be 4 to 5 innate cardinal treasures for sale. They are mainly of the light, darkness, and metal attributes. Experts from the invincible domain are welcome. Experts from the invincible domain were one of the best customers for auctioning innate cardinal treasures. In addition, many old monsters in the invincible domain came from the pinnacle races. In that case, this news could also be spread to the pinnacle races. Ordinary high-level races couldn't afford innate cardinal treasures. Only an existence like the Shepherd God tribe could barely afford to pay the price. However, there weren't many powerful races like the Shepherd tribe. Therefore, the pinnacle races were the main customers. Chapter 36:18. Around the eternal river of heaven, the experts from the invincible domain were still discussing when Prime Minister Turtle's words shocked them all. The Dragon Palace was holding an auction. 4 or 5 primordial cardinal treasures. This caused them to reveal expressions of shock on their faces. This Dragon Palace is auctioning primordial cardinal treasures. Even we can't get our hands on them. Not just us, even the real universe rulers can't get their hands on them. Among the Tai Shui Demon King, the Old Scholar, and the Black Tower Sorcerer, only 2 of them have primordial cardinal treasures. Primordial cardinal treasures are hard to come by. Such treasures can definitely trigger a life-and-death battle between the universe rulers. The Dragon Palace is selling 4 or 5 of them. How terrifying! Indeed. After all, these are primordial cardinal treasures. This Dragon Palace is too rich. Including the 6 races today, I heard that they have annihilated 7 or 8 top advanced races. It's terrifying. The experts from the invincible domain were shocked when they heard Prime Minister Turtle's words. Primordial cardinal treasures were treasures that even the real universe rulers might not have. Although the Celestial Shepherd clan and the Giant of Light clan each had their own primordial cardinal treasures. But these were the treasures of their clans, the treasures passed down through generations. These were the treasures accumulated by their clans over 20 billion years. Only one primordial cardinal treasure had been around for such a long time. One could imagine how precious it was. Among the old monsters in the invincible domain, it was hard to find one primordial cardinal treasure out of 100. In fact, there might not be more than 10 primordial cardinal treasures in the entire invincible domain. And this time, the Dragon Palace was going to auction 4 or 5 of them. Incomparably terrifying. After Prime Minister Turtle spoke to the crowd, he immediately took out the Universe AI and made a statement in the name of the Dragon Palace. Dragon Palace. In 2 years, the Dragon Palace will be holding an auction in the eternal river of heaven. There will be light, dark, and metal primordial cardinal treasures, as well as a large number of primordial spiritual treasures and other treasures. After making the statement, Prime Minister Turtle immediately went to allocate the resources. After making this statement, all that was left was to wait. The reputation of primordial cardinal treasures would definitely attract many experts and powerful forces. However, when the Dragon Palace made the announcement, many people on the AI were dumbfounded. What was going on? What was going on? Just now, the Universe AI said that the Dragon Palace was going to be destroyed. However, the Dragon Palace suddenly announced that they would be holding an auction. Furthermore, he was going to sell Khanate cardinal treasures. What was going on? Shouldn't the Dragon Palace be under attack by the 3 old monsters of the invincible domain, surrounded by the Holy Dragon King and more than 70 experts? A disciple of an expert in the Tianhong River said that the Dragon Palace was going to be destroyed. The result was like this? At this moment, everyone was dumbfounded, and their faces were filled with amazement. However, at this time, a piece of information quickly swept through the entire universe's AI. The Dragon Palace had killed Tai Shui Demon King and the other 3 old monsters of the invincible domain. Sacred Dragon King and over 73rd Order sovereigns were all killed. When this news spread, everyone's faces were filled with shock. What? The Dragon Palace actually killed 3 old monsters from the invincible domain and 71 Third Order sovereigns from the Sacred Dragon bloodline? Hiss, how is this possible? Didn't they say that Tai Shui Demon King and the other 2 old monsters of invincible domain aren't weaker than true universe dominators? How could they be killed by the Dragon Palace in such a short period of time? It can't be this. What exactly happened at the Tianheng River? If the Dragon Palace didn't announce that they were going to hold an auction, I wouldn't dare to believe it. This Dragon Palace is simply heaven-defying. According to a disciple from the Eternal River of Heaven, the Dragon Palace annihilated the High Water Demon King and the others in 10 minutes. Even the weakest among them is a Third Order Universe sovereign. Experts of such a level can be considered an overlord outside of peak-level races. Among the higher races, how many of them have Third Order Sovereign Realm experts? However, the Dragon Palace killed over 70 of them. Terrifying. Terrifying. All the experts and disciples of the various forces looked at the latest news in shock. A Third Order Universe Sovereign was definitely an overlord-level existence in the great desolate continent. Even the powerful 100 Cities Alliance only had 1 Third Order Sovereign Realm expert, the Alliance leader. A Third Order Sovereign Realm expert would be a VIP no matter where he went. However, over 70 of such experts were killed by the Dragon Palace in 10 minutes, especially when there were 3 old monsters from the invincible domain. The Dragon Palace's strength is unfathomable. Among the higher races, which is their match? Not even the technological world, right? The Dragon Palace is invincible below the peak races. Invincible below the peak races? I agree with this. The Dragon Palace's strength is too terrifying. You have no idea where their bottom line is. On the Universe AI, an expert commented, "Invincible below the peak races?" The experts from the invincible domain said that the Dragon King is invincible below the Universe Lord realm. At this time, another piece of news came from the AI. An old monster from the Sage bloodline muttered, "Is there really invincible enemies in this world?" They interpreted it to mean that the Dragon Palace is invincible below the Universe Lord realm. Many experts of the various races agreed with this statement. The 3 old monsters from the invincible domain are not the Dragon King's match. The Dragon King is invincible. I dare say that the Dragon Palace has an 80% chance of becoming a peak race. The Dragon King can lead the Divine Dragon bloodline back to the peak. On the AI, countless experts and disciples were discussing. The Dragon Palace's battle was in an uproar. No one dared to look down on the Dragon Palace. No one dared to look down on the Dragon Palace. And the Dragon Palace was called invincible below the peak races by more and more experts. However, the Dragon Palace destroyed the Divine Dragon bloodline, the Giant of Light, and the other peak experts of the 6 major races. This caused the disciples of the 6 major races to feel sorrow and fear and despair. All the peak experts of their races were killed. How could they not feel despair? Despair at the Dragon Palace's strength. Like God Mountain, the old lair of the Divine Dragon bloodline, located at the foot of a divine mountain, there was an incomparably huge god nation here. This was the Divine Dragon King's god nation. In the center of the god nation, a light divine dragon egg slowly cracked open, and a little divine dragon came out. This little light divine dragon's eyes were filled with fear and anger. He was the Divine Dragon King. He had personally witnessed the terror of the Dragon King. Invincible. Chapter 36:19. How can that Dragon King be so terrifying? How can he be so invincible? Sacred Dragon King, who had just emerged from the dragon egg, was trembling violently. His eyes widened in shock. He had witnessed Wang Xian's invincibility with his own eyes. He had witnessed the deaths of Tai Shui Demon King, the Black Tower Sorcerer, and the Old Scholar. He had witnessed the terrifying strength of the Dragon King. To him, Even Archangel Gabriel was no match for the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace. Facing this kind of enemy caused him to be terrified, and it made him feel terror and despair. With such strength, even if I break through to the Universe Lord realm, I'm no match for him, right? Sacred Dragon King murmured, his expression changing constantly. Yes, at this moment, he felt that even if he broke through to the Universe Lord realm, he would still be no match for the Dragon King. As the leader of the sacred dragon bloodline, he knew how strong a true Universe Lord was. He was sure that they were not as strong as the Dragon King. I have to inform the third prince about this. I hope the third prince has a solution. Sacred Dragon King quickly took out the Universe AI and sent the message over with a trembling hand. This time, the 6 major races had been completely defeated. All the top experts had been killed by the Dragon King. Even if the top experts had the same treasures as him to revive, it would take at least a few 100 million years to recover to their peak. It could be said that the 6 major races were completely finished. After the message was sent, Sacred Dragon King lay there quietly. He had lost all will to fight. Wong. In less than 10 minutes, the third prince's figure appeared in Sacred Dragon King's Dragon Palace. He appeared in front of him. His brows were tightly knitted as he looked at the Holy Dragon King in front of him. There was an ugly expression on his face. Greetings, Third Prince. Sacred Dragon King sensed the third prince's arrival and immediately greeted respectfully. Is that Dragon King really as strong as you say? The third prince stared at him and asked with an ugly expression, Third Prince, I don't dare to hide anything. That Dragon King is too strong. He's definitely stronger than a true universe sovereign. The old scholar, the Black Tower sorcerer, and the High Water Demon King couldn't even take a single move from him. Third Prince, our 6 races are finished. 71 Third Order sovereigns are all dead. Third Prince, it's all because of our incompetence. That Dragon King is too terrifying. The Sacred Dragon King knelt there and spoke with a sorrowful expression. This time, their sacred dragon bloodline was completely finished. Even he himself would need a large amount of resources to recover. Who? The third prince stood there and took a deep breath. His eyes shone brightly. He was also very shocked by the strength of the Dragon King. He should be able to fight against 4 to 5 First Order Universe Lords, or even more. The third prince said, his expression not looking too good. You can't do anything, and neither can I. When the Xinjiang Aqua Phoenix heard his words, her expression changed slightly. Before reaching the Universe Lord realm, he could already fight against 5 to 6 First Order Universe Lords. What kind of concept was that? Even the special and powerful mutated Phoenix, the Blazing Phoenix, was only us, and there were only a few Blazing Phoenixes in the entire Phoenix race. The Dragon King possessed such strength, and it was suspected that his talent and bloodline were comparable to their Blazing Phoenixes. Then we can only wait. With the strength that the Dragon King displayed, he should be able to break through to the Universe Lord realm soon. The third prince said, Wait, I wonder how long we have to wait. The Xinjiang Aqua Phoenix frowned and muttered, Is there anyone below the Universe Lord realm who can kill him? I saw the Universe AI say that the Dragon King is invincible. Invincible? The third prince's eyes revealed a look of disdain. He can't be invincible below the Universe Lord realm. Not to mention the mutated geniuses of the pinnacle races, there are space beasts who can kill the Dragon King. In the invincible domain, there are old lunatics who can fight and even kill the Dragon King. It's a pity, be it the space beasts, the mutated geniuses of the pinnacle races, or those old lunatics, they are not people we can summon. The Xinjiang Aqua Phoenix shook her head. Chapter 3620. The third prince and Green River Aqua Phoenix did not think that the Dragon King was invincible under the Universe Lord realm, not to mention the freakish space beasts and the freakish peak races. Even in the invincible domain, there were old fellows that could be a match for the Dragon King. They stood at the core of the peak races. They knew many things. They also knew many secrets of the invincible domain. For example, there was an old monster that killed a purebred divine dragon when the divine dragon race was still around. In the end, he was chased by the Dragon King of the divine dragon race. After escaping, he hid in the invincible domain and was still there. For example, the invincible domain was a special space formed when a group of Universe Lord Realm experts fought the space beasts. As a matter of fact, not all of the experts had died in that battle. They knew that one was still alive, but because his foundation was destroyed, he could never recover to the Universe Lord Realm in his lifetime. Once a Universe Lord Realm expert was forever trapped at the peak of the Universe Venerable Realm. Adding on the loss of all his loved ones, he had become a mad demon. At the same time, he was the biggest mad demon in the entire invincible domain. His strength had now reached an extremely terrifying level. Realm would limit an expert's strength, but it was not impossible to raise one's combat power. Take the Dark Race, for example. There was an old monster from the Dark Race in the invincible domain. He had large numbers of Dark Ghost avatars. Another Ghost avatar was comparable to a third-order universe sovereign. Because he had lived for so long, and because he had thought of ways to raise his strength, he had nurtured large numbers of Dark Ghost avatars. What did that mean? If a Pinnacle Venerable had 20 Dark Ghost avatars, he would be able to fight a first-order universe sovereign. What if he had 30, 40, 100, or 200? Even second-order universe sovereigns had to be careful when dealing with them. After all, quantity would lead to quantity. It was a pity that such an expert was not someone they could invite. Those old lunatics would not give face to the Third Prince and Green River Aqua Phoenix. Therefore, the Third Prince and Green River Aqua Phoenix had no choice. They could only wait. Wait for the Dragon King to break through. Wait for the Dragon Palace to become a peak race. That way, they would be able to act, even if the other side had the fairy race as their backing. Oh, have you heard? The old scholar, Demon King Tai Shui, and the Black Tower Sorcerer were killed by the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace in the outside world. Hiss, is this real? The 3 Black Tower Sorcerers were all killed by the Dragon King? 1 kill 3? This strength? Given the personalities of the Black Tower Sorcerers, I don't think they would join forces. They have been training their invincible heart and have been looking for a breakthrough. It's impossible for them to join forces. Even so, the Dragon King of Dragon Palace was able to kill the 3 Black Tower Sorcerers. Even those old lunatics wouldn't be able to do that, right? I don't know, but the strength of the Dragon Palace's Dragon King is definitely not to be underestimated. 2 years later, the Dragon Palace will be holding an auction. At that time, there will be innate cardinal treasures. There will be light, darkness, and metal attributes. This is an innate cardinal treasure. I'll go take a look in 2 years. I'll take a look at the Dragon King's true appearance and see if I can buy a connate cardinal treasure. The information within the great desolate continent was transmitted very quickly. At the same time, the news also spread to the Invincible region. There were not many pinnacle experts in the Invincible region, but there were definitely a lot of them. Thousands of pinnacle experts in the universe Venerable Realm paid great attention when they learned that Demon King Tai Shui was going to challenge the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace in the outside world. Hundreds of experts rushed over, but there were also experts who didn't go. However, when they received this news, all of them were filled with shock. They were shocked by the strength of the Dragon King of Dragon Palace. However, some pinnacle old monsters in the Invincible region did not think that the Dragon King of Dragon Palace was really invincible, because in these long years, they had seen many terrifying existences, especially in the deepest part of the Invincible region. They were very interested in the auction held by the Dragon Palace. An auction of innate cardinal treasures would definitely attract a lot of attention and commotion. At that time, even experts from the pinnacle races would come to bid. The old monsters of the Invincible region were naturally very tempted. Innate cardinal treasures were very precious. There are a lot of resources, but they are all corpses. The Sacred Dragon Bloodline, the Giant of Light Clan, the Luminous Insect Clan, the Black Fog Spirit Clan, and the Ghoul Clan are all of the Light and Darkness attribute. The treasures of their experts are also of the Light and Darkness attribute, which is not enough for them to improve themselves. The other treasures are also kept in their holy kingdoms. However, at this moment, the entire great desolate continent and even some experts from the pinnacle races were talking about the Dragon Palace and the Dragon King. As the Dragon King, Wang Xian checked all the gains at this moment. The corpses had been absorbed by the dragon pool. Next, it was time for the experts of the Dragon Palace to improve, and for his own improvement, he would probably only need to wait for the auction. The auction in 2 years' time. As long as he auctioned off some innate cardinal treasures, his strength and the 5 elements grindstone would be improved. At that time, not to mention first-order universe sovereigns. He would even be able to fight against second-order universe sovereigns. As Wang Xian thought to himself, he opened the universe AI to take a look, and a smile appeared on his face. Next, he would have to wait for the auction in 2 years' time. Dragon King, a group of Dragon King experts from the ancestral dragon bloodline, are requesting an audience. They said they want to join our Dragon Palace. Days passed. Half a month later, the 13 Dragon Kings from the ancestral dragon bloodline suddenly came for a visit. Upon hearing Prime Minister Turtle's report, Wang Xian raised his eyebrows slightly and revealed a look of surprise. "Summon them here," he said with a smile. "Greetings, Dragon King." Soon, the 13 Dragon Kings from the ancestral dragon bloodline walked into the Dragon King Hall. They looked at the Dragon King on the dragon throne and felt the aura from him. Their eyes were filled with awe. Not long ago, they had already decided that once the Dragon King broke through to the universe sovereign realm, the ancestral dragon bloodline would directly surrender and join the Dragon Palace. But now, even though the Dragon King had not broken through, they had unanimously decided to join the Dragon Palace. The shock brought to them by the battle half a month ago was too great. 3 top-notch experts from the Invincible Domain, 71 experts from the Sacred Dragon Bloodline, and the experts from the 6 major races were all annihilated by the Dragon Palace. The entire process took only 10 minutes. Compared to the Dragon Palace, the strength of the ancestral dragon bloodline was nothing. All the experts and disciples of the ancestral dragon bloodline were clear that the Dragon Palace was the last hope of the Divine Dragon Clan. The Dragon King had an 80% chance of leading the Divine Dragon Clan back to the peak. Therefore, they had decided to join the Dragon Palace. Chapter 36:21. Dragon Kings, please take a seat. Looking at the 13 Dragon Kings standing respectfully before him and congratulating him, Wang Xian revealed a smile. He gestured at them with a smile on his face. "We do not dare to. Right now, the Divine Dragon Bloodline regards you as the King, Dragon King. We do not dare to proclaim ourselves king." The Water Divine Dragon King in the center bowed and said respectfully. Yes, they were exceptionally respectful towards the Dragon King of Dragon Palace. With the Dragon King's achievements and the strength of the Dragon Palace, they could not afford to offend him. They had witnessed the rise of Dragon Palace with their own eyes. He had witnessed with his own eyes how the Dragon Palace had fought its way to its current position, especially the current Dragon Palace, which was known as the strongest existence below the pinnacle clans. This made them feel proud. This was the hope of their Divine Dragon tribe, and this hope was very, very great. They also believed that it would not be long before the Dragon King led them to the top of the universe. This was their lifelong wish, and at the same time, it was also their former leader's greatest wish. "Thank you for your trust. You are willing to join our Dragon Palace and call me king. However, once you join the Dragon Palace, you will join the purebred Divine Dragon Division of the Dragon Palace. Similarly, all the disciples of the ancestral dragon bloodline will join the various departments of the Dragon Palace." Wang Xian looked at them and said, "We will naturally listen to your orders, Dragon King." The 13 Dragon Kings of the ancestral dragon lineage naturally had no objections. Before coming here, they had already thought of everything. "All right, then I welcome all the experts and disciples of the ancestral dragon's bloodline to join us. Let the last divine dragons and dragon breeds of our divine dragon bloodline roar in the starry skies and the ocean once again, and restore the might of a peak race." Wang Xian was also a little excited about the addition of the ancestral dragon lineage. The heritage of the ancestral dragon's lineage is very deep, and the number of experts and disciples is very large. Their participation would greatly improve the Dragon Palace's strength. Of course, the most important thing was to improve the foundation of Dragon Palace and the number of Dragon Palace disciples. Currently, the number of disciples of Dragon Palace was less than 2 million. With the addition of the disciples of the ancestral dragon lineage, the number could reach about 8 million. 8 million was not a large number for a race. In fact, it could even be considered a small number. Any peak race would have tens of millions of members. These tens of millions were the number of core disciples. This did not include some ordinary disciples who were in charge of logistics. The increase in the number of disciples in Dragon Palace could make Dragon Palace more lively. After all, the most important factor in the development of a race was reproduction. The higher the number, the higher the chances of a strong expert being born. Currently, the Dragon Palace did not have the ability to create a universe ruler. And for a pinnacle universe venerable to break through to the universe ruler realm, the chances were very small. Even among the peak races, the probability was only 1 in 10. The might of a peak race has been restored, and our divine dragon race will roar once again. The 13 experts of the ancestral dragon's bloodline also roared with excitement and excitement. Prime Minister Turtle, send the experts of Dragon Palace to help the ancestral dragon's bloodline migrate. Wang Xian looked at them with a smile as he instructed Prime Minister Turtle. Yes. Prime Minister Turtle nodded and looked at the 13 future experts of the Dragon Palace with a smile. Let's go, everyone. Transfer your Dragon Palace to the Dragon Palace. Let's create the glory of the divine dragon tribe together. Yes, please take care of me in the future, Prime Minister Turtle. The 13 experts naturally knew Prime Minister Turtle's position in the Dragon Palace. He was the butler of the Dragon Palace, other than the Dragon King and Dragon Queen. Even though he was much weaker than them, he was still responsible for the overall planning of the Dragon Palace. Prime Minister Turtle was a scholar, while they were a martial artist. Rest assured, everyone, as long as you join the Dragon Palace, we will be a family. We will not allow any disharmony in our family. We will work hard together in the future, Prime Minister Turtle said with a smile as he led them away. Wang Xian looked over and his eyes sparkled. From today onwards, the ancestral dragon bloodline will join the Dragon Palace completely. In the future, there will be no more ancestral dragon bloodline. We will carry the will of the ancestral dragon leader and become the right-hand man of the Dragon King. We will follow the Dragon King and restore the glory of the divine dragon tribe. The Dragon Palace is invincible. The Dragon King is invincible. Not long after Prime Minister Turtle led them away, the announcement of the ancestral dragon bloodline caused quite a stir on the universe AI. The strength of the ancestral dragon bloodline was not weak. In fact, it could be said that they were very, very strong. Some time ago, the ancestral dragon bloodline was still competing for glory with the sacred dragon bloodline, which attracted a lot of attention. Now, their announcement shocked the experts and disciples of the various races, but at the same time, it was within their expectations. This was because of the will of the ancestral dragon leader. Everything was to restore the glory of the divine dragon tribe. Although the ancestral dragon leader was dead and the ancestral dragon bloodline was greatly weakened, their will had not changed. The Dragon King can lead the divine dragon tribe back to glory. It's normal for the ancestral dragon bloodline to join the Dragon Palace. The will of the ancestral dragon leader is to restore the glory of the divine dragon tribe. He doesn't care if it's the ancestral dragon bloodline or the Dragon Palace, as long as it's the divine dragon tribe. The Dragon King has the strength to make them submit. With the ancestral dragon bloodline joining the Dragon Palace, the strength of the Dragon Palace has become much stronger. Below the pinnacle races, they are truly invincible. On the universe AI, the disciples of the various races saw this news and were discussing it. The strength of the Dragon Palace had increased again. Among the advanced races, which could compete with the Dragon Palace? None. Perhaps it wouldn't be long before the divine dragon tribe could regain its glory. Of course, there were some experts who didn't think highly of the Dragon Palace. After all, the mastermind behind the 6 races attack was the angel race. Of course, There were even more experts who felt that the Dragon Palace could regain its glory because it had the help of the elf race. Is this the Dragon Palace? From afar, it doesn't look very strong. The Dragon Palace doesn't look very big. Compared to the Dragon Palaces of our 13 Dragon Kings, it seems a little small. That's right. The aura of the Dragon Palace doesn't feel very strong. What do you know? Isn't there a saying in the sage bloodline that goes, no matter how high the mountain is, an immortal will be famous. No matter how deep the water is, a dragon will be spirited. This is our Dragon King's Dragon Palace, and the strength of these lords is truly terrifying. The Dragon Palace casually sent out 10 third-order sovereigns to help us migrate. Days passed, and 2 months later, the ancestral dragon bloodline's 14 incomparably huge dragon palaces slowly flew towards the Dragon Palace. At the same time, within the Dragon Palace, the 6 million experts and disciples of the ancestral dragon bloodline were inside. They looked at the Dragon Palace in front of them with shock and awe. This was the Dragon Palace that had shaken the interior of the chaotic heavenly continent and annihilated the 6 major races. Chapter 36:22. In the future, the Dragon King will be the only king of our divine dragon lineage. We have no choice but to obey the Dragon King's orders. Join the Dragon Palace, and we will also be a part of the Dragon Palace. We will stand shoulder to shoulder with the Dragon King. Under the leadership of the Dragon King, we will strive to restore the glory of our divine dragon lineage as soon as possible. 14 huge dragon palaces flew towards the Dragon Palace. Looking at the Dragon Palace below the water in the sky, the 13 Dragon Kings reminded their disciples once again. Yes, the group of disciples shouted loudly. His eyes were also filled with a passionate look. Ahead of them was their new king, Dragon King of Dragon Palace, an existence that was much stronger than their ancestral dragon leader. He was also a powerhouse that all divine dragons admired and worshipped. Dragon King, our new clansman has arrived with good news. The ancestral dragon bloodline has 14 powerful dragon palaces, 13 of which are the true universe dominator-level dragon palaces. At the same time, in the Dragon Palace, Prime Minister Turtle reported to Wang Xian excitedly. Upon hearing Prime Minister Turtle's words, Wang Xian's eyes lit up with excitement. They have 13 universe ruler-level dragon palaces. What about their attributes? He hurriedly asked. As he spoke, he immediately flew towards the entrance of the Dragon Palace. Dragon King, you have all 9 attributes, Prime Minister Turtle said excitedly. The current Dragon Palace was at the post-celestial level. In other words, it was equivalent to a venerable level god nation. Of course, universe supremacies could not break through the Dragon Palace's defenses. If the Dragon Palace wanted to advance from the postnatal realm to the innate realm, it would need to absorb the god nation of 9 different attributes. The Dragon Palace was also a god kingdom. As long as he could absorb it, his Dragon Palace would be able to reach the innate realm. At this level, it could withstand an attack from a universe ruler realm expert. At the same time, the spiritual chi in the Dragon Palace, the speed of cultivation, and other functions would be doubled. Once the Dragon Palace was upgraded, they would have the power to protect themselves. At that time, even if a 4th or 5th order universe ruler came to attack, they would be able to block it. All right. Wang Xian flew to the east gate of the Dragon Palace. Looking at the 14 dragon palaces in front of him, his eyes were filled with excitement. The improvement of the Dragon Palace was important, but Wang Xian was more concerned about something else. The progenitor tree's upgrade. The progenitor tree was Wang Xian's greatest trump card. It was also the greatest trump card of the Dragon Palace. After such a long time, he had also reached his current level. He had a vague feeling. That was, the ancestor tree was originally left behind by the divine dragon race's seniors for the successors of the divine dragon bloodline. Even his own system was created by the ancestors of the divine dragon race in order to assist the successor of the divine dragon race. And he was the successor. The bloodline of the ancient god Kuan breeder might have been left on Earth. He even had some guesses about the current system. This might be the product of gathering the last of the divine dragon race's strength, gathering all of the insectoid race's technology in the Divine Dragon Palace. This was also the reason why he and Dragon Palace could improve so quickly. After all, none of the other Dragon Palaces had a dragon transformation pool. It was also impossible to easily transform it into a peak dragon species. This was the ability of the insectoids. The bug race was incomparably terrifying. As long as the Dragon Palace devours the 9 elemental dragon palaces, it will be upgraded. At that time, the progenitor tree might have some new changes. Wang Xian mumbled to himself. The dragon palaces of the 13 experts of the ancestral dragon bloodline were not created by them. They had obtained them through great opportunities. After all, there were many universe Lord Realm Dragon Kings during the glorious era. It was not impossible for some dragon palaces of the universe Lord Realm to be preserved. All members of the Dragon Palace, come and welcome our new member. Prime Minister Turtle came to Wang Xian's back and ordered all the members of the Dragon Palace. After all, the Dragon Palace would have an additional 6 million dragon species this time. They had to welcome them grandly. Yes, after Prime Minister Turtle's order, a group of experts from the Dragon Palace flew over. There were about 2,000 purebred divine dragons. Each of them was a peak dragon species, and each of them exuded a powerful aura. Guan Shuqing, Lan Qingyue, Sunling Xiu, Tangyin Xian, and the rest of the dragon queens also flew out and stood beside Wang Xian with smiles on their faces. Among them, Xiao Yu and her husband, Fengling Tian, were also beside them. As for Xiao Yu and Fan Qinglan, they exuded a dark and terrifying aura that belonged to the skeletal dragon. Their strength had already reached the peak universe Lord Realm. Comparable to Bei Shuang, they could fight a first-order universe Lord Realm expert. The harvest from a few months ago had increased the strength of the Dragon Palace to a terrifying degree. Other than them, there were 153rd Order Universe Lord Realm experts of the Dragon Palace at the back. Around them, the peak dragon species lined up neatly. SSS, this is such a terrifying aura. This. Just as all the experts of the Dragon Palace came out, the 13 Third Order Universe Lord Realm experts in the 13 Dragon Palaces in front of them were shocked when they saw the Dragon King and the group of experts and dragon species from the Dragon Palace. At a glance, there were a total of 150 to 160 experts with similar auras to them. What kind of concept was this? In addition to the 10 experts beside them, there were a total of 150 to 160 experts in the Dragon Palace. In addition, they could vaguely sense that there were 3 to 4 experts who were stronger than them. Oh my God, look over there. Purebred divine dragons. So many purebred divine dragons. There are at least 2,000 of them, right? At this time, the disciples in the 14 Dragon Palaces were in disbelief. What did they see? Over 2,000 purebred divine dragons. In their opinion, there were at least 200 to 300 purebred divine dragons in the entire universe. However, there were about 2,000 of them in the Dragon Palace. Moreover, every legendary divine dragon was exceptionally strong. Not only are there purebred divine dragons, there are also spike dragon species, berserk dragon species, imperial dragon species, arrow dragon species. Oh my God! At this time, the 13 Third Order Universe Lord Realm Divine Dragons looked on in shock. They looked at the over 2,000 purebred divine dragons and sensed the peak dragon species legions. They were slightly dazed. Was this the peak of the divine dragon race? This wasn't their first time in the Dragon Palace, but it was their first time seeing all the members of the Dragon Palace. They could only use the word unbelievable to describe it. All disciples immediately greet the Dragon King. The Third Order Universe Lord Water Divine Dragon shouted and flew out of the Dragon Palace. Greetings, Dragon King. Greetings, King. At this moment, he knelt down in the water and performed an official bow. Greetings, Dragon King. Greetings, King. The rest of the experts and disciples immediately flew over and knelt down with faces full of shock. Chapter 36-23. Greetings, Dragon King. Greetings, King. At this moment, they were completely submissive. The Dragon Palace was even more terrifying than they had imagined. This caused them to feel excited and proud. Everyone, please rise. Welcome to our Dragon Palace. In the future, we will also be a family. We will share honor and disgrace, trials and tribulations, climb to the peak, and create glory together. Wang Xian swept his gaze across the experts and disciples of the ancestral dragon lineage with a satisfied look. Among the 6 million ancestral dragon bloodline experts and disciples, there were only a few dozen purebred divine dragons, while the rest were all divine dragon bloodline users. Thank you, Dragon King. All the powerful disciples answered excitedly. Now, let's go through the Dragon's Gate and enter. Wang Xian instructed with a smile. Challenge the Dragon Palace and become a true member of the Dragon Palace, with Wang Xian as the leader. Wang Xian's will was their life. Once he passed through the Dragon's Gate, they would obey him 100%. The experts and disciples of the ancestral dragon bloodline nodded and looked at the peak dragon species of the Dragon Palace in awe. The powerful disciples of the ancestral dragon bloodline all possessed the bloodline of the divine dragon and had stayed in the powerful Dragon King's Dragon Palace before. To them, challenging the Dragon's Gate was a piece of cake. Wang Xian nodded his head slightly as he watched the group of people with divine dragon bloodline enter easily. Prime Minister Turtle, have Darklight and the rest hover their dragon palaces above the Dragon Palace. Wang Xian instructed Prime Minister Turtle when he saw the 13 Third Order sovereigns passing the Dragon's Gate. It's Dragon King. Prime Minister Turtle nodded with a fervent gaze. Soon, under Prime Minister Turtle's command, 9 universe ruler-level dragon palaces floated above the Dragon Palace. Ding! Discovered metal, wood, water, fire, earth, light, darkness, wind, lightning, 9 elements universe lord-level god kingdoms. Do you want to devour? At this time, the system's voice sounded. Wang Xian nodded to himself immediately. Buzz. As soon as he finished speaking, a terrifying whirlpool suddenly surged out of the Dragon Palace below. The whirlpool seemed to have endless devouring power, sucking in the metal-type Dragon Palace. The metal-type Dragon Palace did not have the slightest resistance and was quickly absorbed. The entire Dragon Palace emitted surging energy. A dragon roar suddenly sounded, and a golden divine dragon slowly appeared in the sky above the Dragon Palace. The golden divine dragon fused into one of the dragon pillars of the Dragon Palace. The metal attribute Dragon Palace was completely absorbed. Following that, the wood attribute Dragon Palace was quickly devoured by the Dragon Palace. Every time a Dragon Palace was devoured, a mirage of a divine dragon would appear and fuse into the dragon pillar of the Dragon Palace. Buzz, buzz, buzz. What's happening to our Dragon Palace? What a terrifying divine dragon aura. Our Dragon Palace is evolving. Evolving? Great. My Dragon Palace is finally going to evolve again. In the Dragon Palace, all the experts and disciples looked up at the sky, watching the changes of the entire Dragon Palace. The energy of the Dragon Palace was getting more and more vast. The dragon might was also getting stronger and stronger. Dragon palaces of different attributes were devoured one by one. Buzz. When the last lightning attribute Dragon Palace was absorbed, 9 divine dragons soared into the sky from the Dragon Palace below. 9 divine dragons hovered in the sky above the Dragon Palace, emitting waves of boundless elemental energy. Energy began to sprinkle into the Dragon Palace, making the entire Dragon Palace sacred, ethereal, and vast. The 9 divine dragons slowly turned into light, and the energy ashes fell to the ground. Ding! Congratulations to host. The Dragon Palace has leveled up into the innate Dragon Palace. Dragon Palace, innate Dragon Master, Wang Xian Buildings Dragon King Palace, innate Dragon Transformation Pool, innate Dragon Sect, innate Ocean Pacifying Pillar, innate Dragon Cave, innate Dragon Field, innate Dragon Formation, innate Spiritual Items Progenitor Tree, Heaven Origin Creation Appendix, Dragon Transformation Pool cultivates dragon species. Current dragon species: Golden Swordfish, Thunder Shrimp, Devil Monkey, Mysterious Demon, Light Thorn, Hydra, Dragon Turtle, Yaksha, Clam Girl, Golden Lobster, Starwood Dragon species, fire phoenix species, berserk dragon species, venom horn dragon species. Special buildings, dragon lair. Devouring dragon. Consume energy to create your own kind of insect. The mother insect feeds on all kinds of metal materials. Progenitor tree, heaven origin creation branch. Soul returning wood branch phoenix tree branch boundless wood branch poplar tree branch nirvana thunder tree branch seed of advancement fruit. Immortal slaying gourd abilities. 1. Revive all plants with wood attributes. As the energy of the progenitor tree increases, the level of the branches can be increased. Annex. Ancient Pool Moon Bay leveled up. With the system's upgrade, Wang Xian checked the attributes in his head. Excitement filled his eyes as he looked at the majestic Dragon Palace. The Dragon Palace was finally upgraded again. After the upgrade, the Dragon Palace was almost at its peak. If he wanted to break through again, it would be extremely difficult. Looking at the Dragon Palace below, Wang Xian had a thought. Wang. In the next moment, the entire Dragon Palace changed. It was expanding. Under the control of his mind, it easily expanded to 5 times its original size. Chapter 36-24. The fruits on the progenitor tree exuded intense energy. Today, the progenitor tree was full of fruits. Soul Return embryo fruit, Endless embryo fruit, Nirvana thunder embryo fruit, etc. There were thousands of them, especially the Soul Return embryo fruit, which was definitely a treasure in the universe. The advancement seed has also undergone great changes. The advancement of the progenitor tree has greatly shortened the time needed for the seed to mature. Now, it can mature in 1,000,000 years. Wang Xian murmured, his eyes filled with excitement. 1,000,000 years was not a long time for an expert of a high-level race. In fact, it could be considered very short. Let me announce that the app I've been using recently is supported on both Android and Apple phones. What did it mean for the Dragon Palace to produce an advancement seed in 1,000,000 years? 100,000,000 years could allow the Dragon Palace to produce 100 Universe Lord Realm experts. 100 might not seem like a lot, but these advancement seeds could be used by those experts who had difficulty advancing. If the Dragon Palace developed for 10 billion years, then the Dragon Palace could produce 10,000 Universe Ruler Realm experts. That was a terrifying number. In addition to the experts who could break through on their own, the number would be even more. There was another premise, and that was the current situation of the progenitor tree. If the Dragon Palace had a chance to advance again, the progenitor tree could absorb a huge amount of energy and shorten the time needed for the advancement seed. The seed of advancement was definitely a rare treasure. The current Dragon Palace would be able to put up a slight resistance even if the experts from the Angel Clan attacked. Of course, it would just be a slight resistance. Wang Xian murmured with a smile on his face. The Dragon Palace was getting stronger and stronger. After checking all the buildings in the Dragon Palace, the ancestral dragon bloodline was completely integrated into the Dragon Palace. Since then, the ancestral dragon bloodline had completely disappeared. The strength and foundation of the Dragon Palace had been greatly enhanced. For example, the number of third-order sovereigns had already reached 175. 175th? What kind of concept was that? Just a few of them could wipe out an advanced race. As for experts who could match the true Universe Lord Realm, excluding Wang Xian, there were 3. Bei Shuang, Xiao Yu, and Fan Qinglan. 1 Frost Divine Dragon and 2 Bone Dragons. As for the Water Tentacle King, he was currently absorbing the energy of the Tai Water Demon King and would probably recover soon. After he recovered, the Dragon Palace would have a Universe Dominator Realm Astral Beast. At present, the strength of Dragon Palace was terrifying. However, it was still a far cry from the Apex races, even the weakest of the Apex races. According to the Universe Artificial Intelligence's information, the weakest Apex race had a few hundred Universe Lord-level warriors. As for the exact amount, no one knew. In the following period of time, the 6 million powerful disciples of the ancestral dragon bloodline began to convert to the pinnacle dragon species. The Dragon Palace's army was expanding rapidly. 2 years was a very short period of time in the Great Desolate Continent. 2 years was enough for a large number of experts to come from the inner continents. Some of the peak clans and experts from the Invincible Domain would also be able to rush over. The Dragon Palace's auction caused a huge sensation, auctioning a Sciention treasure. Such a treasure was something that even a universe ruler from a peak race would covet, especially the powerhouses of the light and darkness races. At the same time, it attracted a large number of experts in the invincible domain. Among them, there was no lack of old monsters comparable to the Old Scholar and the High Water Demon King. When there was still a month before the auction, some experts had already arrived at the vicinity of the Eternal Heaven River. Seems like there will be quite a number of experts from various races this time. I wonder how many Universe Lord experts from the peak races will come. Wang Xian stood in the Dragon Palace. With a wave of his arm, the entire Heaven Eternal River appeared before him. This was the scouting ability of the Dragon Palace. It could already cover the entire Heaven Eternal River. It will definitely attract many Universe Lord experts. Many experts from the invincible domain will also be coming. Prime Minister Turtle smiled and said, "Currently, the Dragon Palace has been set up for the auction. Should we take out some of our special treasures for the auction?" The special treasures that Prime Minister Turtle mentioned were the fruits on the progenitor tree: Soul Return Fruit, Endless Fetus Fruit, Nirvana Thunder Fetus Fruit, Eternal Fetus Fruit, and other fruits like the Soul Return Fruit would definitely be extremely valuable. Wang Xian pondered for a moment and looked at the fruits on the progenitor tree. Let's decide according to the number of experts. If there are more experts this time, we can sell one Soul Return Fruit. He pondered for a moment and answered. The Soul Return Fruit was extremely precious. However, it wouldn't be a problem to sell one. After all, although such life-saving treasures were precious, powerful high-level races and peak experts all had them. It wouldn't be a problem for the Dragon Palace to sell one. Of course, if the outside world knew that there were thousands of Soul Return Fruit in the Dragon Palace, even the peak races would disregard the rules and annihilate the Dragon Palace. A treasure of this level was too precious. Also, if any experts have items to sell or auction, you can entrust them to us for auction. We will take a 5% commission. Wang Xian said to Prime Minister Turtle. There might be many experts coming this time. Many of them had treasures that they didn't use. If they wanted to auction them, the Dragon Palace could provide them. Of course, the Dragon Palace could also earn a huge commission. Yes, Dragon King. Prime Minister Turtle nodded and flew out immediately. Wang. Soon, they arrived at a huge auction venue at the side of the Dragon Palace. They had set up a large number of arrays around the venue. The harvest this time had increased the number of third-order Sovereign Realm Dragon Shamans to 15. The arrays set up by 15 third-order Sovereign Realm Dragon Shamans could trap and kill a true Universe Lord expert. They had to protect the Dragon Palace's auction this time. They could intimidate those who didn't know what was good for them. In addition, Wang Xian was prepared to let 100 third-order Sovereign Realm Dragon Palace experts stand guard at the venue when the auction started. This was to prevent accidents from happening. At the same time, it was a deterrent to other forces. A line of words floated above the auction venue. The general meaning was that the Dragon Palace would accept the auction business. Some experts who were closer to the Dragon Palace had arrived in advance around the Heaven Eternal River. Their eyes flickered when they saw this message. However, they weren't too surprised. It was normal for the Dragon Palace to accept the auction. Chapter 36-25. Swish, swish, swish. Wong, wong, wong. Rumble, rumble, rumble. As the Dragon Palace's auction drew nearer, more and more experts arrived around the Eternal Heaven River. Some experts rushed over at a terrifying speed. Some experts came in a majestic manner, exuding boundless might as they crossed the river. There were also some high-level races that rode on huge flying machines. However, these experts and disciples from the high-level races kept a low profile. They hovered above the Eternal Heaven River and scanned their surroundings curiously. There are quite a few powerful races that have come. That's the Star Soul race. They have many third-order universe sovereigns. They once obtained a powerful meteorite that caused hundreds of their experts to mutate. It's said that they have more than 30 third-order universe sovereigns. That's the cold light sword god from 19 continents. I didn't expect him to be here. He's a powerful existence with a connate cardinal treasure. Below the pinnacle races in the inner continents, he's definitely a terrifying existence. I heard he accepted a disciple. Look over there. Those should be experts from the invincible domain, right? The murderous aura on them is so strong. There are 2 experts from the Star Soul race who came from the invincible domain. Their strength is terrifying. Now that so many experts from the invincible domain are here, I'm afraid the experts from the pinnacle races will also be here. The sounds of discussion in the surroundings continued to ring out. The first to arrive were the high-level races. However, all the experts and disciples knew that experts from the pinnacle races would be here as well. Connate cardinal treasures were enough to attract experts from the pinnacle races and even universe sovereigns. After all, Connate cardinal treasures were invaluable even to universe sovereigns. There are many experts here this time. Get the experts of the Dragon Palace to pay attention. Activate the array. At this moment, Wang Xian, who was in the Dragon Palace, looked around and ordered Prime Minister Turtle. Yes, Dragon King. Prime Minister Turtle nodded. The Dragon Palace's auction was getting closer. There would be more experts. The Dragon Palace had to take precautions. The experts from the pinnacle races would not break the rules. However, other experts would not be lacking, especially those old monsters from the invincible domain. There was no room for mistakes in this auction. Wong. Soon, at the auction house next to the Dragon Palace, a terrifying energy soared into the sky. Dragon pillars appeared out of thin air in the surroundings. On top of the dragon pillars were spiraling divine dragons. They stood there in a lifelike manner. A pair of incomparably cold dragon eyes swept across the surroundings. Ka. At the same time, numerous gigantic demonic dragon cannons were aimed at the surroundings of the auction house. Each of the 18 demonic dragon cannons contained an incomparably terrifying might. Just a glance at it would make one's heart palpitate. Hiss. This is? When the Dragon Palace's array formation and the demonic dragon cannon were raised, all the experts and disciples who had arrived looked over in shock. When they sensed the terror on the dragon pillars, when he saw the pitch-black demonic dragon cannon, he couldn't help but tense up. Hiss. What kind of formation is this? Why does it give off such a terrifying feeling? This formation should be able to easily kill me. Somewhere in the eternal river of heaven, a group of old monsters from the invincible domain saw the array that suddenly rose, and their pupils shrank. An old monster's eyes widened as he couldn't help but roar in a low voice. The formation that rose from the auction house beside the Dragon Palace could instantly kill him. As expected of an existence that could kill the old scholar, Demon King Tai Shui, in the Black Tower. Just this formation alone is enough to fight against a universe sovereign realm expert. An old sorcerer from the invincible domain scanned the formation as he commented, "This Dragon Palace isn't simple. With those 18 terrifying weapons, even 5 to 6 third-order sovereigns can be easily annihilated. The former divine dragon race. Looks like this Dragon King must have obtained a powerful divine dragon inheritance. They might be able to become a peak race once again." Some old monsters from the invincible domain discussed. In the surroundings, the experts of the other high-level races could vaguely hear the discussion, and their faces were filled with shock. The Dragon Palace is truly invincible. They haven't even sent an expert. Just their formation and war weapons can easily destroy us. They are invincible below the peak races. An old monster from the invincible domain couldn't help but comment. The surrounding experts of the Star Soul race nodded their heads silently. It would be a piece of cake for the Dragon Palace to annihilate them. Even the Star Soul race was shocked, not to mention the other races and forces. All of them looked on in shock. Experts from the peak races are here. As the auction drew nearer, the experts and disciples from the peak races began to appear. The first to appear were the experts from the fairy race. The fairy race's experts and disciples arrived, led by the life sound arrow. Other than him, who was a universe sovereign, the rest were all existences below the universe sovereign realm. The fairy race mainly relied on the wood attribute. Therefore, the inborn cardinal treasures in this auction were not of much use to the fairy race. Therefore, Only one of their experts came to lead the team, while the fairy race had over 1,000 disciples. Welcome, Lord Life Sound Arrow. The fairy race was indebted to Wang Xian, and he came personally to welcome him. He cupped his fists at the Life Sound Arrow. Hee, Dragon King, you don't have to be so polite. Given your current strength, I'm afraid you're no weaker than me. It won't be long before you surpass me. The Life Sound Arrow said to Wang Xian with a smile. Greetings, Lord Dragon King. The fairy race's disciples around the Life Sound Arrow cupped their fists at Wang Xian and greeted him. Firstly, Wang Xian's strength was terrifying enough. Of course, the main reason was because of the companion spirits. The companion spirits enjoyed a high status in the fairy race. Ordinary disciples would have to address them respectfully. As the owner of the companion spirits, Wang Xian naturally had to treat them with respect. Please come in. Wang Xian smiled and led them into the Dragon Palace. After the arrival of the fairy race, experts from other peak races arrived one after another. Experts from the Divine Tiger race, Devil race, Nether race, and Celestial Nation. The Divine Tiger race possessed all kinds of attributes. As for the Devil race and Nether race, they mainly cultivated the dark attribute. The experts and disciples of the Celestial Nation also possessed all kinds of attributes. The experts and disciples of the 4 peak races flew over without hiding anything. Wang Xian and Prime Minister Turtle welcomed them personally. Chapter 36-26. Wang Xian still had to be courteous to the pinnacle races. Moreover, these pinnacle races had experts at the Universe Lord realm here. Such experts would be respected wherever they went. Even Wang Xian couldn't sense the exact strength of 2 of the experts. The Life Sonar Arrow cupped its fist at the 2 experts to show its respect. Clearly, they were much stronger than the Life Sonar Arrow. The experts from the pinnacle races entered the guest rooms of the auction. This was an eye-opener for the experts and disciples from the surrounding high-level races. Dragon King, we detected experts hiding in the surroundings. They are very strong. With only 1 day to the auction, Prime Minister Turtle reported to Wang Xian after looking at the information obtained by the Dragon Palace. Can you find out who the experts are? Wang Xian asked. We have sent experts to take a look. They should be from the Angel Clan. The rest should be top-notch experts from the Invincible Domain. They are comparable to the Old Scholar and Demon King Tai Shui. Prime Minister Turtle said. Some experts had already arrived. However, they didn't want to show themselves. Hence, they were hiding in the surroundings. How many top-notch experts are there now? Wang Xian asked him. There should be about 35 experts from the various pinnacle races, including some old monsters from the Invincible Domain. I just don't know if there are more experts hiding in the surroundings. Prime Minister Turtle reported. Wang Xian nodded his head slightly. 35 experts with at least 4th Order Universe Lord combat strength. This was a huge number. One should know that many experts didn't just represent themselves. They could be relatives and friends, or even a circle of experts from the pinnacle races. I can only sell 3 soul return fetal fruits. I can't sell any more than that. Wang Xian thought to himself. Treasures of this level were too precious. If he took too many of them, he might attract the attention of the experts. Wang Xian, my father and grandfather are here. I'm going to welcome them. At this time, Ling Honggu flew over and said to Wang Xian, they're here? Let's go together then. Wang Xian was taken aback for a moment before replying with a smile. All right. Ling Honggu smiled and nodded his head. The 2 of them moved and flew out. This is? When he and Ling Honggu flew out, they focused their attention on the old man beside the spirit Devil King. The old man was extremely burly, and his aura was restrained at this moment. However, Wang Xian could tell at a glance that he was an expert at the Universe Lord realm. Furthermore, its strength was also greater than that of the Life Sound Arrow. As for its exact strength, he was unable to determine it. While Wang Xian was sizing him up, the old man was also sizing him up. Not bad, not bad. You're the Dragon King, right? You're strong and you have great potential. The old man commented with a smile. Sir, thank you for your praise. Wang Xian cupped his fist and looked at Ling Honggu. He hadn't expected Ling Honggu to have such a terrifying grandfather, This person should be a powerhouse of the skeleton clan. Among the peak clans, it was best not to provoke the skeleton clan in a one-on-one situation, because you didn't know if it was a 1v1 or a 1v999999999. There is a well-known fact in the universe, and that is do not engage in a 1v1 PK with the skeleton race, because they might summon an army of skeletons. Even if an angel from the angel race can summon an angel army, you still have to consider how many armies this skeleton king has. A skeleton king above the universe lord realm would definitely have his own skeleton army. Spirit Devil King, this way please. Wang Xian extended his hand and invited them into the Dragon Palace. Her? That's an expert of the skeleton clan. This Dragon Palace Dragon King is not only on good terms with the elf race, but also with the king of the skeleton clan? Which king of the skeleton clan is that? He's much stronger than me. In the surrounding area, the experts from the top clans looked over with sparkling eyes. Wang Xian brought the Spirit Devil King and the rest into the Dragon King Palace, invited them to a banquet, and chatted for a while. He also had a brief understanding of Ling Honggu's grandfather, a king of the skeleton clan. Because of his relationship with Ling Honggu's grandfather was very polite to Wang Xian and even admired him. After all, it was all because of Wang Xian that Ling Honggu could reach his current level. The auction is about to begin. Sir Life Sound Arrow, Sir Black Vulture King, everyone, let's head over. The auction was about to begin. Wang Xian called Ling Honggu's grandfather, Black Vulture King, and Life Sound Arrow to the auction hall. Hee, sure. Life Sound Arrow nodded with a smile. Over the past few days, Wang Xian had treated the elf race very well. Disregarding everything else, he had taken out 2 soul return fetal fruits for Life Sound Arrow. However, Life Sound Arrow did not take advantage of him. He had used some extremely precious fruits and spiritual grass in exchange. Of course, although the treasures that Life Sound Arrow had taken out were precious, the rarity of the soul return fetal fruits was incomparable. As for Ling Honggu's grandfather, Wang Xian had taken out the Darkness Attribute Inborn Cardinal Treasure and sold it to him at a low price. Ling Honggu's grandfather had rejected the offer. He said that if he wanted it, he would bid for it. Wang Xian smiled and did not continue with the pleasantries. The resources that Wang Xian had now were sufficient for him to level up. However, there was still the auction to be held. After the auction, he would make a breakthrough. Wang. When Wang Xian and the rest flew towards the auction hall, Divine Dragons, Berserk Dragons, Halberd Dragon Guards, and Imperial Dragons flew out from the Dragon Palace. Among the 20 purebred Divine Dragons, Bei Shuang was the leader. The rest were Ao Qitian, Ao Qi, Ao Yuxia, and the rest of the elite close combat dragons. Each of them exuded the combat strength of a third-order universe sovereign. A total of 100 third-order universe sovereigns exuded a terrifying aura. In the surrounding area, some of the experts from the peak races looked over in astonishment, their eyes flashing with light. 20 purebred divine dragons, and the rest are from the elite races. This dragon palace lives up to its name. Impressive. That should be the Frost Divine Dragon. It would be much easier for a mutated purebred divine dragon to break through the shackles of the sovereign realm. Seems like the Dragon Palace could really become one of the elite races. The current strength of the Dragon Palace is comparable to the peak of the Divine Dragon tribe. They have a rather strong Dragon King. There are quite a lot of peak dragon species. I heard that they even have the spike dragon species. That's a terrifying existence. The surrounding experts from the 5 to 6 elite races looked on in astonishment. As for those disciples from the elite races who had yet to break through to the sovereign realm, they were even more shocked. Chapter 36-27. Is this the strength of Dragon Palace? 100 third-order sovereigns. Hiss, how terrifying. This power is too terrifying. So powerful. Is the Dragon Palace really so powerful? How did the Dragon Palace develop so quickly? 1,000 years ago, they were forced by the 100 Cities Alliance to seal and suppress their palace. Now, they have become so terrifying. This strength is invincible among the high-level clans. Just based on the strength displayed by the Dragon Palace and this formation, It's almost invincible. The experts from the peak races were slightly surprised. As for the disciples of the high-level clans, they were incomparably shocked. Ever since the Dragon Palace annihilated the invincible domain's Tai Shui Demon King and the other two, annihilating 71 Third Order Universe Sovereigns in a mere 10 minutes, many disciples on the AI proclaimed the Dragon Palace to be invincible among the high-level races. Now, it seemed that he was truly invincible. Below the peak, who could compete with him? Especially when the Dragon King had the power to kill the old monsters of the invincible domain. After the Dragon Palace had the Frost Divine Dragon, even the technological world would not be a match for the Dragon Palace, right? The Dragon Palace is invincible. The Dragon King is invincible. Some experts from high-level races couldn't help but sigh. Based on the strength shown by the Dragon Palace, coupled with the Frost Divine Dragon and the woman in red, it's normal that Tai Shui Demon King, the Old Scholar, and the Black Tower Sorcerer were killed. This Dragon King's strength should be among the top in the invincible domain, maybe a little stronger than Tai Shui Demon King and the others, but I'm afraid he's still not invincible. An expert from the invincible domain calmly analyzed the situation after hearing the evaluation of the disciples from the high-level clans. It's impossible to be invincible below the peak. If you want to talk about invincible people, it should be in our invincible zone. There are a few crazy old monsters who are truly invincible. An illusory figure of the Nether clan replied. The strength displayed by the Dragon Palace was very strong. It was more than enough to destroy 3 top experts of the invincible domain. This also led them to conclude that the Old Scholar, Demon King Tai Shui, and the Wizards of the Black Tower were killed by the Dragon Palace 2 years ago. They did not think that it was the Dragon King who killed it alone. The Dragon King was invincible, but the experts of the invincible domain disagreed, because there were terrifying existences in the invincible domain. Is the invincible domain really as powerful as they say? Some of the disciples from the high-level races overheard their conversation and looked over in confusion. Welcome to our Dragon Palace, experts from all races. This is a small auction of our Dragon Palace. At this time, Wang Xian and the rest had already arrived at the front of the auction hall and sat down. Prime Minister Turtle walked up to the stage and spoke with a smile. Also, the 8 experts hiding around the Eternal Heaven River, please enter our auction venue. This is an auction, not outside. As Prime Minister Turtle spoke, he glanced around and continued with a smile on his face. Oh, in front, a few peak race universe ruler realm powerhouses raised their brows and swept their gazes around. So. After Prime Minister Turtle finished speaking, some of the experts hiding in the surroundings didn't continue to hide and flew straight over. On the far right, 5 angels flew over. 3 radiant angels and 2 fallen angels. In front of them were the skeletons of the Nether clan. Their eyes shone with a red light as they scanned their surroundings. His gaze landed on the Black Vulture King, his eyes revealing a faint trace of reverence. Greetings, Black Vulture King. 2 skeletons bowed respectfully. The skeleton clan was a peak race. Although they each had their own king, and many of the kings often fought with each other, experts would always be respected. The Black Vulture King swept his gaze across and responded plainly. The Angel Clan, I didn't expect the Angel Clan to be here. They aren't on the same side as the Dragon Palace. Almost all the subsidiary races of the Angel Clan have been annihilated by the Dragon Palace. The Angel Clan is closer to here. Moreover, they naturally need the light and darkness attribute innate cardinal treasures this time. It's not surprising that they are here. After all, the so-called subsidiary races are nothing in the eyes of the Angel Clan. Those 2 lords should be universe ruler realm experts of the Skeleton Clan. They are actually greeting the old man beside the Dragon King. Is that old man an even stronger existence of the Skeleton Clan? That lady in red seems to be on good terms with him. Isn't that lady in red from the Dragon Palace? The sudden appearance of the experts from the Angel Clan and the Skeleton Clan caused the surrounding experts and disciples of the high-level races to discuss in shock. All of them looked on in awe. Boom! From the left, a figure flew over. His body was filled with an incomparably messy aura. His entire figure was like a bomb that was about to explode. His body strangely possessed two types of energy, metal and blue. On top of his head was a pair of horns, a golden horn and a blue horn. He entered the auction hall and quietly floated there. His eyes were closed and he didn't look at anything. Isn't this forbidden? It's forbidden. It's really him. The blue and gold horns, it's him. This. I didn't expect this person to come too. Hiss, he wouldn't go crazy here, would he? His arrival seemed to garner more attention than the experts from the Skeleton Clan and the Angel Clan. Especially when the experts from the Invincible Domain looked over. Their eyes were filled with shock. This figure with blue and gold horns and closed eyes, they called him forbidden. Just this one word, but all the experts in the Invincible Domain knew how terrifying he was. A crazy demon, an old crazy demon. Legend has it that he was born from the fusion of the flesh and blood of a cosmic behemoth and a universe dominator at the beginning of the Invincible Domain. He already had a lifespan of more than 10 billion years, and his realm was still at the peak of the universe supremacy realm. However, his strength wasn't something Tai Shui Demon King and the others could compare with. Among the crazy demons of the Invincible Domain, he occupied one, because when he fought, he would lose his mind and turn into a crazy demon. Secondly, some people speculated that after being imprisoned for a year, there would be half a year where one would not be able to suppress his mind and become a terrifying fighting machine. The experts of the Invincible Domain discussed, but the experts from the peak races merely glanced at them and ignored them. They didn't care about the experts of the Invincible Domain and even looked down on them, because they were a bunch of fellows who couldn't break through and had gone down the wrong path. Since everyone is here, let's start the auction, Prime Minister Turtle said when he saw them coming out. In this auction, the Dragon Palace will be presenting the primordial cardinal treasures. You can use the 5 elements primordial spiritual treasures instead of elixirs, herbs, and fruits to bid. Chapter 36-28. The Dragon Palace's auction this time was mainly for elixir pills, divine herbs, and innate spiritual treasures of the 5 elements. Therefore, innate spiritual treasures could be used in the bidding. The auction began. There was nothing much to say about this auction. As long as you had enough treasures, you could bid for what you needed. The Dragon Palace brought out a lot of items this time. Other than a few innate cardinal treasures, there were also hundreds of darkness and light attribute innate cardinal treasures. In addition, there were 3 soul-returning fruit and all sorts of strange treasures. Other than that, there were also some items submitted by experts from high-level races. There were a total of over 1,000 items up for auction. With over 1,000 items up for auction, the speed of the auction was very fast. In order to prevent experts from pinnacle races from bidding, and if high-level races did not dare to make a move, they could hide their identities in this auction. The auction officially began, and treasures were auctioned off one after another. Wang Xian sat there, watching with a smile. The items were auctioned off one after another. After half a day, the bidding for innate cardinal treasures began. The first innate cardinal treasure was of the darkness attribute, and the competition was fierce. Not only did experts from pinnacle races participate, but experts from high-level races also participated secretly. High-level races should not be underestimated. Many of them had billions of years of accumulation. An expert from a pinnacle race at the Universe Lord realm might not be able to defeat them. However, the first innate cardinal treasure was won by an expert from the Nether clan. The second innate cardinal treasure was of the light attribute, and was eventually won by an expert from the Celestial Nation. The third innate cardinal treasure was of the metal attribute. When this innate cardinal treasure was auctioned, the crazy demon seal of the Invincible Domain made its move. The crazy demon seal of the Invincible Domain was also very rich. The more experts they killed, the more their gains would naturally be. Even experts from pinnacle races did not have as many treasures as he did. It was a pity that when he made his move, he met an expert from the Divine Tiger clan. This expert's strength was above the First Order Universe Lord realm. When he made his move, the crazy demon seal of the Invincible Domain was defeated. Wang. When this innate cardinal treasure of the metal attribute, was auctioned off by the expert from the Divine Tiger clan. An intense energy fluctuation came from behind. A piece of trash who can't even control his mind. It doesn't matter how strong he is. The Black Vulture King's gaze swept across the forbidden zone behind him. He did not hide it in the slightest as he opened his mouth to evaluate with a face full of disdain. Wang Xian looked over curiously. He was very curious about this crazy devil from the invincible domain. This kind of existence was stronger than Tai Shui Yao King and the others. There were two reasons why such experts would go crazy. The first was not breaking through for a long time, and the passage of time would cause his mind to change. Secondly, because they had not broken through for a long time, they would think of ways to increase their strength. After their strength increased, there was no corresponding realm to match, so it was easy for them to lose control, which meant they could not control themselves. This was the reason for their madness. He had become stronger, but he had also gone mad. It would be even more difficult for such an existence to break through. Wang Xian sized up this crazy old devil called Jin with curiosity. It shouldn't be too much of a problem for him to deal with him. Although he was very strong, he was not strong enough to instantly kill Tai Shui Demon King. However, he hadn't even managed to get his hands on a single item, yet the energy within his body had already fluctuated so greatly. One could only imagine the severity of this situation. After the metal attribute Khanate Cardinal Treasure was obtained by the Divine Tiger Clan's expert, there weren't many other treasures left. In the end, there were only 3 soul return fetal fruits. Such fruits were fatally attractive to any disciple of an expert. After all, this was a treasure equivalent to an extra life. To some disciples of experts, this was even more important than Khanate Cardinal Treasures. Of course, the value of soul return fetal fruits was much lower than Khanate Cardinal Treasures. The 3 soul return fetal fruits were won by the experts one by one, and the auction came to a successful end. The auction has come to an end. Those who manage to get their items can contact us to collect them. As Prime Minister Turtle spoke, some of the experts in the surrounding seats left immediately. Wang Xian, I'm leaving with my father and grandfather. Let's meet again in 1,000 years. By then, I'll have reached the Universe Dominator realm. Ling Honggu bade farewell to Wang Xian directly. Hee, all right. See you in 1,000 years. Wang Xian smiled and nodded his head at her. Haha, Brother Dragon King, I have high hopes for you. When Honggu breaks through, I'll invite you over to witness the breakthrough of Honggu. At the same time, I'll show you our skeleton realm. Black Vulture King laughed and said to Wang Xian, all right, see you in 1,000 years. Wang Xian nodded his head and agreed. Farewell. Spirit Devil King cupped his fists. They returned to their own holy nations and disappeared. Wang Xian also cupped his fists at them. In the surrounding area, most of the experts from the pinnacle races had disappeared. They either returned to their own holy nations or returned to their races through special items. Boom! What are you doing? However, at this moment, a horrifying aura swept across the surroundings, following which a hurried voice sounded. Her? Wang Xian was taken aback by the sudden turn of events. He immediately looked ahead. In front of him, a middle-aged man with a horrifying long sword in his hand was staring ahead with a grave expression. Beside the middle-aged man were a young man and a young lady. They looked at the figure in front of them with fear. In front of them was an old lunatic from the invincible domain with a blue and golden horn. Forbidden. At this moment, he had one eye opened eerily. However, this eye was filled with madness. Around Forbidden and the middle-aged man, there was a blue light shield enveloping them. Clearly, this blue light shield. It could prevent the middle-aged man and the rest from escaping. What? It's Cold Light Sword God. That's the lunatic expert from the invincible domain. What is that lunatic expert trying to do? Why is he attacking Cold Light Sword God? What's happening? The sudden change also shocked the surrounding people. All of them looked over at the same time. Is it a spar or something? Cold Light Sword God is very strong. He once swept an entire region with his sword. With an inborn cardinal treasure in his hand, he's almost invincible and has a great reputation. Some experts from the advanced races looked over and commented in surprise. Give me the inborn cardinal treasure in your hand in 3 seconds. At this moment, Forbidden's One Eye was twitching crazily, as though he was suppressing the violence in his body. He spoke in a low voice. He wanted the inborn cardinal treasure in Cold Light Sword God's hand. A water attribute inborn cardinal treasure. Chapter 36-29. Her? He wants that expert's innate cardinal treasure? That long sword with water attribute? And he has already sealed the other party? Seems like the innate cardinal treasure didn't succeed in bidding for that metal attribute innate cardinal treasure. Therefore, he wants that expert's water attribute innate cardinal treasure. That guy is really unlucky. That expert with the innate cardinal treasure shouldn't be from the invincible domain. He's really unlucky this time. At the front of the Dragon Palace auction venue, some old monsters from the invincible domain who hadn't left saw this scene and looked over in shock. That expert from the invincible domain wants to snatch Cold Light Sword God's innate cardinal treasure. This Cold Light Sword God is very strong. He has an innate cardinal treasure. Isn't he too arrogant to want to snatch Cold Light Sword God's innate cardinal treasure in a one-on-one situation? The disciples of some high-level clans whispered to each other. Wang Xian looked over and raised his eyebrows slightly. His eyes fell on the mad demon from the invincible domain. You want me to give you my cold light innate cardinal treasure? Dream on. I've never seen such an arrogant guy. Even the mad demon from the invincible domain can't snatch my treasure. Cold Light Sword God stared at the mad demon seal with a bitter expression. At his level of cultivation, he naturally knew about the invincible domain and the existence of the mad demon. However, it was impossible for him to give his innate cardinal treasure to him directly. Innate cardinal treasure was something that even the universe Lord Realm experts from the pinnacle races would fight for. How could he give it to him directly? With the innate cardinal treasure in his hand, he believed that even if he wasn't a match for the mad demon from the invincible domain, he could at least put up a fight. Wang. However, just as Cold Light Sword God finished his sentence, a wave of horrifying energy attacked him instantly. Mad Demon Seal. Without any hesitation, he was shrouded in blue and gold radiance. Behind him, an illusion of a giant cosmic beast appeared. This giant cosmic beast had 2 huge horns, as though it was going to break through the sky. Cold Light Sword God was shocked by the sudden attack of Mad Demon Seal. Scram! Dazzling the 9 states with a sword, Cold Light Sword roared coldly as he executed the Dharma form. A dazzling sword radiance slashed towards the Mad Demon Seal. Bam! However, the crazy Demon Seal did not dodge at all. Instead, it met the sword light head-on. The giant star beast phantom behind him completely surrounded his body. The sword light landed in front of him and was easily blocked. The crazed devil seal continued to attack Cold Light Sword God. What? Cold Light Sword Deity's expression changed drastically when he saw that, and a look of horror appeared in his eyes. 10,000 swords return, defend. He waved his arm, and the connate cardinal treasure floated above his head, forming a terrifying defense. This defense borrowed the power of the connate cardinal treasure. Pooh! However, in the next moment, Cold Light Sword God's body was sent flying backward. He spat out a large amount of blood and flesh. Master! Behind them, the man and woman who were protected by energy saw this scene, and their expressions changed drastically as they roared loudly. They quickly flew in front of Cold Light Sword God, their faces filled with worry. What? Hiss! That old monster from the invincible domain has such terrifying strength. Even with a primordial cardinal treasure in his hand, Cold Light Sword God couldn't even withstand one move. How? How is this possible? Is this the strength of a top-notch expert from the invincible domain? He's too strong. They're not on the same level. Cold Light Sword God has a primordial cardinal treasure, and he couldn't even withstand one move? Oh no, Cold Light Sword God might be killed. The sudden battle had defeated Cold Light Sword God with one move. This scene shocked the experts and disciples of the high-level races from the inner continents. Cold Light Sword God, who had an primordial cardinal treasure, was defeated with one move? From the looks of it, it would be a piece of cake to kill him. Is this the strength of a top-notch old monster from the invincible domain? Courting death. Seeing Cold Light Sword God flying backward, crazed Devil Seal opened one of his eyes, which was filled with coldness. He spat out 2 words calmly and was ready to charge out again. This is the territory of the Dragon Palace. If you dare to make another move, you'll have to stay here forever. Seeing that crazed Devil Seal was ready to strike again, he spoke directly. What a joke. This is the territory of the Dragon Palace. The territory of the Dragon Palace. This is the venue of the Dragon Palace's auction. Yet here you are, snatching treasures and trying to kill someone. Are you looking down on the Dragon Palace? Every single race had a powerful prestige. Even if it was the Gentle Elf clan, other races would be killed if they dared to step in. The Dragon Palace wasn't a top-notch race, but no one dared to act presumptuously here. The crazed devil from the invincible domain? The strength of the Dragon Palace could kill him in an instant. Wang Xian's words caused the crazed Devil Seal to pause his attack. He looked at Wang Xian with one of his crazed eyes. At this time, all the experts from the Dragon Palace were staring at him with cold eyes. As long as he dared to make a move, he would die here. There was no doubt about it. Was the crazed Devil Seal from the invincible domain strong? Yes, but there were 100 Third-Order Universe Sovereigns from the Dragon Palace around him, not to mention the horrifying Array and North Frost. As long as the crazed Devil Seal dared to make a move, he would be killed instantly. The crazed Devil Seal stared at Wang Xian with one eye. His pupils were twitching constantly, and his eyes were filled with violence. 3 seconds. Get out of here. Wang Xian stared at him and continued emotionlessly. The Dragon King has spoken. Phew, the Dragon King has spoken. Cold Light Sword God can be saved now. With so many experts from the Dragon Palace here, that old monster from the invincible domain wouldn't dare to make a move. How domineering. The Dragon Palace now has a trace of the brilliance of a top-notch race. This is the territory of the Dragon Palace after all. Other experts can act presumptuously here, but the Dragon Palace won't allow such things to happen. The Dragon King's strength is invincible among those below the Universe Sovereign Realm. Although this expert from the invincible domain is terrifying, he won't be a match for the Dragon King. The Dragon King also has inborn cardinal treasures, and there might be more than one. Upon hearing Wang Xian's words, the surrounding experts and disciples from the high-level races looked at him with respect and admiration. The current Dragon Palace and the current Dragon King were vaguely invincible. Some of the old monsters from the invincible domain saw this and their eyes flickered. Dragon King of the Dragon Palace? Good. Invincible among those below the Universe Sovereign Realm. If there's a chance, let's spar. One of the crazed Devil Seal's eyes twitched madly. He revealed a hideous look on his face and withdrew his aura completely. Spar? Upon hearing his words, Wang Xian pondered for a moment, following which, the corner of his mouth curved slightly. 2 years later, I'll go to the invincible domain and make a clean sweep, he said emotionlessly. Chapter 3630. 2 years later, I'll go to the invincible domain and make a clean sweep. When Wang Xian said this, the surrounding crowd was taken aback and were filled with astonishment. The one eye of the crazy Devil Seal that was filled with madness was also stunned for a moment. The experts from the invincible domain pursed their lips and stared at Wang Xian. Going to the invincible domain? What a bold claim. In the invincible domain, there were about 4,000 to 5,000 pinnacle supremacies. Other than these experts, there were also a large number of dire beasts and giant cosmic beasts. These dire beasts and giant cosmic beasts could survive in the invincible domain because of their terrifying strength. But the Dragon King wanted to make a clean sweep? How confident was he? There were many top-notch experts in the invincible domain, and there were more than 10 crazed existences. No one dared to say that they could make a clean sweep of the entire invincible domain, especially those below the Universe Lord realm. The Dragon King is really confident. He wants to make a clean sweep of the invincible domain. Is he going to walk the path of invincibility? The Dragon King is too ferocious. But I think the Dragon King can really make a clean sweep of all the experts in the invincible domain. Some of the surrounding disciples were discussing in shock, and their eyes were shining brightly. Ha ha ha, make a clean sweep of the invincible domain? Then I'll wait for the Dragon King in the invincible domain. I hope the Dragon King won't disappoint me in 2 years. The crazy demon seal suppressed the violence in his heart, laughed hysterically, and flew away. Hee hee. Wang Xian looked at his back and smiled faintly. He wanted to make a clean sweep of the invincible domain, but not for the so-called invincibility. He could sense the strength of the crazy demon seal just now. He was really strong, much stronger than the old scholar and demon king Taishui. But Wang Xian felt that the strength of the crazy demon seal was only comparable to the old scholar, demon king Taishui, and the sorcerers from the Black Tower. Wang Xian could suppress him, but it would be difficult to kill him. But the gains from this auction were enough for him to make a breakthrough in the 5 elements grindstone and his strength. After the breakthrough, he was confident that he could take on a rank 2 Universe Lord Realm expert. As for the level of the crazy demon seal, he could easily destroy it. When he entered the invincible domain, he could kill some reckless fellows and powerful wild beasts to get some resources. After this round of advancement, the amount of resources Wang Xian would require for another round of advancement would be even greater. Invincible domain was a good place to obtain large amounts of resources. At that time, he would sweep them away. I'm looking forward to the invincible domain, Dragon King, but our invincible domain isn't as simple as you think it is. Beside him, a top-notch expert from the invincible domain smiled at Wang Xian. With a swift move, he left immediately. This expert did not think that Wang Xian had the strength to dominate the invincible domain. Not to mention sweeping through, he might not even be a match for those powerful mad demons. 2 years later, I will go to the invincible domain to take a look. Wang Xian replied with a smile. Thank you, Dragon King. At this time, Cold Light Sword God, who had healed his injuries, cupped his fists and thanked Wang Xian. In the territory of our Dragon Palace, we naturally won't allow such arrogant people to exist. Wang Xian waved his hand and said plainly, everyone can directly return to your own divine kingdom. I believe it will be safer there. Prime Minister Turtle reminded. Wang Xian made a move and flew into the Dragon Palace. Next, it was time for him to enhance his strength. When he arrived at the Dragon King Hall, Wang Xian waved his palm and a large amount of resources appeared in his hands. At the same time, inborn spiritual treasures of the 5 elements appeared at the side. The 5 elements grindstone appeared above the inborn spiritual treasures and began to absorb them rapidly. Wang Xian also began to devour elixir pills to enhance his strength. While Wang Xian was breaking through, the news about the auction had spread rapidly on the Universe AI. The arrival of a group of top-notch experts. The arrival of experts from the invincible domain. The auction of all kinds of precious treasures. An auction of this level was definitely unprecedented in the history of high-level races. Powerful inborn spiritual treasures and precious life-saving fruits. Similarly, the strength of the Dragon Palace once again caused quite a stir. Naturally, the news of Wang Xian sweeping through the invincible domain in 2 years' time was also spread like wildfire. The Dragon King of the Dragon Palace said that he will sweep through the invincible domain in 2 years' time. This is too domineering. The invincible domain. The disciples of the Dragon King are all Frost Divine Dragons. The strength of the Dragon King is definitely abnormally terrifying. It's not impossible for him to sweep through the invincible domain. It's not that easy to sweep through the invincible domain. The top-notch experts in the invincible domain are also very terrifying. Even the Cold Light Sword God with an inborn spiritual treasure couldn't withstand a blow from an old monster in the invincible domain. He's too strong. If the Dragon King can sweep through the invincible domain, he will be truly invincible. In the future, the Dragon Palace will definitely become a top-notch race. On the Universe AI, countless experts and disciples were discussing. The news that the Dragon King of Dragon Palace was going to sweep through the invincible domain quickly spread throughout the invincible domain. Some experts from the invincible domain sneered at the words of the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace. The Dragon King of the Dragon Palace is a little arrogant. In the invincible domain, who dares to say that he is invincible and wants to sweep through the entire invincible domain? I'm just afraid that he won't be able to get out after coming in. This time, the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace has offended the Crazy Devil Seal. I guess the Crazy Devil Seal will come to kill him when he comes in. If not for the large number of experts from the Dragon Palace being there, the Crazy Devil Seal might have already fought with the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace. Some old monsters from the invincible domain were discussing. The existence of the Crazy Devil was not afraid of any experts of the same level. They would not take the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace seriously. As for sweeping through the invincible domain, they were a little disdainful. They were sure that no one below the Universe Lord Realm could sweep through the invincible domain. Naturally, the Dragon King would not be able to do so. No matter how the discussions on the Universe AI were or how disdainful the invincible domain was, within the Dragon King Hall, the aura from Wang Xian and the aura from the Five Elements Grindstone was getting stronger. Wang Xian and the Five Elements Grindstone were not far from breaking through. Especially Wang Xian. Ka. Ding. Congratulations on breaking through to the 7th Order Universe Venerable Realm. Ding. Congratulations on breaking through to the Dharma form of the law, Shadow Dragon Substitute. Days passed. 10 days later, a horrifying dragon aura and crisp sounds came from Wang Xian's dragon body. At the same time, the system's voice sounded. From his body, a horrifying aura surged towards the surroundings. Breakthrough. Wang Xian had broken through. At the 7th Order Universe Venerable Realm, he had the combat power of a 4th Order Universe Lord. In other words, among the pinnacle races, Wang Xian would be at the level of an archangel or a great elf. Still looking for the invincible dragon cultivation system for free? Baidu directly searched. Chapter 3631. Name: Wang Xian Race. Yin Yang Wind Lightning 5 Elements Divine Dragon, 1 with the Dragon, Level. Universe Venerable Level 7, Divine Dragon Transformation 9th Transformation, Origin. 1, 99 more to breakthrough, Magic. Dominate the aquatic creatures, dominate any aquatic creatures lower than your own level, devour living things. Devour living things to extract the source, control of the 5 elements cultivation technique. Divine Dragon Transformation Divine Powers. Soul Capture. Spirit Attachment Nomological Divine Abilities. Dragon Eye Lock, 5 Elements Dragon Claw, Yin Yang World Breaker, 8 Luminaries Dragon Scale, Holy Dragon Shadow, 8 Divisions of the Heavenly Dragon, Dragon Tomb, Soaring Cloud Dragon, True Dragon Body Dharma Form, 8 Directional Dragon Pillar, 8 Dragon Clone, Towering Dragon Horn, Mighty Heavenly Dragon, Divine Tail Playing with Pearls, Dragon Breath of Life, Shadow Dragon Clone Law of Mastery, Metal, Wood, Water, Fire, Earth, Light, Darkness, Wind, Lightning Divine Kingdom, Dragon Palace Possessed Dragon Palace, Innate. Dragon Palace members, 7960450 with the breakthrough in strength. Wang Xian checked his attributes and revealed a smile. With this breakthrough, he had obtained a more powerful Dharma idol, Shadow Dragon Doppelganger. This was a life-saving method that could block fatal attacks. After the breakthrough, true First Order Universe Sovereigns could be instantly killed by Wang Xian if they were not careful. Relying on the unbeginning sacred wings, his speed could reach the Second Order Universe Sovereign realm. Facing 3 First Order Sovereigns at the same time was not a problem at all. With the addition of the Tai Chi Dragon Plate, it would be even more powerful. Next, I need to upgrade the 5 Elements Grindstone. Looking at the 5 Elements Grindstone that was absorbing the innate spiritual treasure, Wang Xian smiled. After breaking through the 5 Elements Grindstone, his strength had become even more terrifying. At that time, he would like to see if there was anyone in the invincible domain who could contend against him. The corners of his mouth curled up. He wasn't in a hurry to help the 5 Elements Grindstone break through. Instead, he walked in front of the progenitor tree. His figure flickered, and two nether ghost clones appeared next to him. After he broke through, the dark ghost clone also broke through. And with the progenitor tree's recent upgrade, the dark ghost clone had also received an upgrade. In the past, he could only have two dark ghost clones, but after this upgrade, he sensed that he could have two more. In other words, if he obtained another nether ghost, he could raise two more. At that time, he would have four nether ghost clones. I should be able to get some ungroomed dark ghosts in the invincible region, Wang Xian mumbled to himself. After checking the current situation of the universe AI, he began to assist the 5 elements grindstone in its breakthrough. According to its current speed, the 5 elements grindstone should only need 2 months to complete its evolution. Time passed day by day. The universe AI was in an uproar of discussion. After discussing the strength of the Dragon Palace, they discussed the Dragon King's plan to sweep through the invincible realm. There were all sorts of theories and guesses. That Dragon Palace's Dragon King is about to step into the invincible domain. This is an opportunity. We don't have to wait for him to break through before we act. At the same time, on the Divine Dragon Island in the mountains and seas, the Aqua Phoenix looked at the third prince, and her eyes flickered. This is indeed an opportunity. Now that the Dragon Palace has basically unified the Divine Dragon lineage, we must kill their leader, the Dragon King. If he goes to the invincible domain, we can use this opportunity to take action. Otherwise, we might have to wait 100,000 years, 1,000,000 years, or even 10 million years. The third prince nodded, his eyes sparkling. All their previous plans had failed. Now, the only way was to eliminate the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace and disintegrate the Dragon Palace. This was the only way they could subdue him. This time, both of us will work together. There can't be any mistakes. We must kill the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace. The Aqua Phoenix said to the third prince. The third prince nodded his head heavily. This time, he had to eliminate the Dragon King. There was no room for mistakes. Let's do our best. That Dragon King is a little weird. The Green River Water Phoenix added. Don't worry. As long as he enters the invincible domain, I can send my men into the invincible domain to take action. I still don't believe that he is a match for our Angel Core. However, that guy is indeed weird. Xinjiang, you have to be prepared too. The third prince nodded his head. The Aqua Phoenix nodded her head. Now that the Dragon Palace and the Dragon King had displayed their formidable strength, they already knew that the Dragon King was a little weird. If they were to strike again this time, they would have to be fully prepared. They had to kill as soon as they struck. And with their strength, they could do it. Boom. Wang Xian didn't know that the third prince and the Aqua Phoenix were planning to kill him. In fact, he didn't expect the 2 experts from the Angel Clan to be so scheming to kill him. 2 months passed quickly. On this day, a powerful dragon aura rose in the Dragon King Hall. A series of dragon roars reverberated. In the center of the Dragon King Hall, an incomparably huge millstone floated. On the millstone, 5 dragon heads exuded a terrifying aura. I've broken through. Wang Xian looked at the 5 elements' great millstone in front of him and revealed a smile. After breaking through the 5 elements' great millstone, his strength had reached its peak. Even if he were to face a dozen First-Order Universe sovereigns at the same time, he could still deal with them with ease. Even Second-Order Universe sovereigns would be able to contend against it. After all, his speed wasn't any weaker than Second-Order Universe sovereigns. Prime Minister Turtle, Wang Xian shouted softly. Yes, Your Majesty. Prime Minister Turtle came in and bowed respectfully. I'm going to the invincible domain. I'll leave the matters of the Dragon Palace to you. Wang Xian instructed him. Dragon King, do you want some experts from the Dragon Palace to follow you? Prime Minister Turtle asked. No need. I can go there myself. Wang Xian shook his head. His current strength wasn't something a group of leaders could compare to. Bringing them there wouldn't help him much. After giving some instructions, he flew out without hesitation. His destination was the invincible domain. The invincible domain was far from the Dragon Palace. If he wanted to rush there, he would need more than a year. Wang Xian's speed was fast. He unleashed the maximum speed of a Second-Order Universe sovereign. He could fly in the void chasm. He still had plenty of time before he reached the invincible domain in 2 years' time. And this time, he was heading to the invincible domain. He wasn't keeping a low profile. I'm already on my way to the invincible domain. When he came to a city to rest, Wang Xian sent a message through the AI. As the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace, his message naturally attracted a lot of attention. The reason why Wang Xian sent this message was to inform the experts of the invincible domain. This time, he entered the invincible domain for resources. He wanted to kill some wild beasts and galactic beasts. Of course, his message was also to inform those who were courting death. In this case, Wang Xian would be able to kill him with a peace of mind. Still looking for the invincible divine dragon cultivation system for free. Chapter 36-32 Dragon King of Dragon Palace. Already on his way to the invincible domain. After Wang Xian announced the news, he was easily teleported to another city. However, this news caused quite a stir in the universe's AI. TSK, the Dragon King is really ferocious. He said he would reach the invincible domain in 2 years, and he's already on his way. Is he going to walk his own path of invincibility? If the Dragon King can really sweep the entire invincible domain, he will be invincible below the universe dominators. The Dragon King is so ferocious, strong, and domineering. He's my idol for life. Ha ha ha. I wonder if the Dragon King can sweep the entire invincible domain. If he can't, he'll be so embarrassed. The Dragon King is strong, but some of the crazy demons in the invincible domain are also terrifying. Countless experts and disciples from various races discussed excitedly. Many even claimed that this was the path of invincibility for the Dragon King of Dragon Palace, and also the path of invincibility for Dragon Palace. If the Dragon King could really sweep the entire invincible domain, he would undoubtedly be invincible below the pinnacle races. Some experts thought highly of the Dragon King, while others didn't. But no matter what, this action of the Dragon King was very respectable. Who dared to say he could sweep the entire invincible domain? Even a true First-Order Sovereign Realm expert wouldn't dare to say that, right? In recent years, because of Wang Xian and the large number of experts from the invincible domain appearing in the inner continents, everyone had a better understanding of the invincible domain. In the invincible domain, there were experts who could match the existence of the universe dominator realm. They were absolutely terrifying. There were also terrifying crazy demons. University student, fight to the death. But there were only about 10 known crazy demons. Arrogant and presumptuous. He wants to sweep the entire invincible domain alone? I'm afraid a dozen experts in the invincible domain can annihilate the Dragon King. A dozen? That's overestimating the Dragon King. I think a dozen stronger old monsters are enough to annihilate the Dragon King. Someone like Taishui Demon King could be annihilated by a dozen old monsters. Although the Dragon King is stronger than Taishui Demon King, how much stronger can he be? I heard that the crazy demon seal has a grudge with the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace. I'm afraid that the crazy demon seal will have a big fight with the Dragon King this time. At that time, we will be able to understand the strength of the Dragon King. While the experts of countless races in the chaotic land were discussing the matter, some of the old monsters in the invincible realm had also received the news. They scoffed at this. Many old monsters acknowledged the Dragon King's strength. But if you arrogantly want to sweep the invincible domain, then you are too arrogant. Once you enter, you will be besieged. Even if you are an old mad devil, you will be killed. To be able to stay in the invincible region, no one was ordinary. If you really provoke public anger, you won't even know how you die. Hee, you're here? At the same time, in a domain of the invincible domain, there was an ocean here, and there were many incomparably huge ocean mountains. At the peak of a mountain, Crazy Demon Forbidden looked at the news on the universe AI and revealed a smile. Not long ago, he wanted to kill Cold Light Sword God in the Dragon Palace and obtain a Khanate cardinal treasure of water attribute. He knew that he was in the wrong. But since the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace dared to stop him, then the Dragon King was his enemy. If the Dragon King didn't kill him, he would feel indignant. Therefore, the Dragon King had to die. Invincible among those below the universe Lord realm. Let me test your strength. I want to see if you will die or not. Invincible? Hee hee. Crazy demon forbidden chuckled. He stood up slowly and flew towards the entrance of the invincible domain. The entrance of the invincible domain was huge. The probability of meeting him at the entrance was not high, but Crazy Demon Forbidden still rushed over. If he met him, he would fight. If he did not meet him, then he would wait for news from the Dragon King. His thoughts were not strange to a mad devil like him. When Crazy Demon Forbidden arrived at the entrance of the invincible domain, there was still half a year left before the 2 years deadline. He floated in the void crack and sat there quietly, waiting. Time passed, day by day. Wang Xian was rushing towards the invincible domain, while Crazy Demon Forbidden sat in the middle of the entrance, waiting. Crazy Demon Forbidden would be Wang Xian's first enemy in the invincible domain. That is? Crazy Demon Forbidden was located in the middle of the entrance. It was not eye-catching, but it was very eye-catching. 4 months later, 5 experts from the Phoenix clan entered the invincible domain and saw the Crazy Demon Restriction sitting cross-legged in the void. When they saw this figure, they were slightly stunned. The 5 experts from the Phoenix clan often entered the invincible domain. They had also stayed in the invincible domain for tens of millions of years, and one of them had made a name for himself in the invincible domain. His strength was no weaker than the Tai Shui Demon King. They quickly recognized the existence in the middle of the entrance of the invincible domain. Crazy Demon Forbidden. It's him. Why is he here? One of the fire phoenixes looked at the crazed devil seal sitting cross-legged in amazement, and a gleam flashed in his eyes. Could he be waiting for the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace? I heard that the Dragon King stopped Crazy Demon Forbidden from snatching an inborn cardinal treasure from an expert in the Dragon Palace. Chapter 36-33. Time passed day by day. Wang Xian rushed towards the invincible domain. At the entrance of the invincible domain, hundreds of old monsters from the invincible domain were gathered there. In the center, the crazy devil seal sat cross-legged, motionless. Due to the short period of time, there weren't many old monsters gathered here. Moreover, many old monsters rarely paid attention to matters regarding the universe AI. Therefore, to be able to gather over 100 old monsters from the invincible domain in such a short period of time was already a lot. I wonder when the Dragon King will come. TSK, it would be interesting if they could fight. Yeah, I wonder who will emerge victorious. The Dragon King of the Dragon Palace is definitely not weak, not to mention the Crazy Demon Seal. However, I feel that if it was a life-and-death battle, the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace might not dare to do so. I think so too. If we really fight, the Crazy Demon Seal will not care whether you die or I live. His combat experience is definitely not something the Dragon King can compare to. If they are evenly matched, the Dragon King will not dare to fight the Crazy Demon Seal with his life. Around them, some old monsters from the invincible realm were discussing, their eyes twinkling. We're here. At the same time, at the front of the invincible domain, Wang Xian was looking at the huge and deep entrance. His eyes were gleaming. That was the entrance to the invincible domain, and it led to a huge crack in the void. This was a former battlefield, a battlefield between experts and astral beasts. He moved and immediately flew inside. When he arrived at the entrance, he immediately sensed that there were some experts floating in the void at the entrance. They didn't move at all. They just floated there, hovering at the entrance. That was strange. Are you waiting for me? Or? Wang Xian's eyes flickered as he looked towards those few locations. The other party still hadn't sensed him and was still standing there quietly. The Tai Chi dragon board on Wang Xian rotated slightly and flew inside. As Wang Xian approached the invincible domain, the old monsters who were closer to him also noticed Wang Xian. An expert has entered. Is it that Dragon King? Some of the old monsters looked at Wang Xian with shock. He has dragon might on him. He should be that Dragon King. This should be the Dragon King. It should be him. As Wang Xian got closer to them, the senses of some of the old monsters became clearer. Among this group of old monsters, there were disciples of peak races. Naturally, they could recognize him through his aura. Oh, is this to welcome me? Hee. Wang Xian scanned the surroundings and sensed dozens of old monsters from the invincible domain. He revealed a smile. He slowly shifted his gaze to the center. There, a familiar figure was sitting cross-legged in the void. This figure had clearly sensed Wang Xian's arrival. He slowly opened his eyes. The moment he opened his eyes, a tyrannical aura suddenly surged around him. What kind of gaze was that? Crazed, bloodthirsty, numb, and sinister. There was only a little bit of black in his pupils, making him look like a devil. He stared at Wang Xian as his pupils dilated continuously. Gradually, a blood-red color appeared in his pupils. Crazed demon seal. His eyes weren't ordinary eyes, but taboo eyes. This pair of eyes was completely open. As long as it locked onto a target, it would emit a wave of energy to attack. Not even he could control the crazed devil seal. That was why it was called the crazed devil restriction. When he wasn't fighting, he would either open one eye or close both eyes. For an expert of such a realm, it wouldn't affect him even if he closed both eyes. When Wang Xian and the crazed demon seal's eyes met, he immediately sensed a wave of energy attacking him. He seemed to have an illusion in front of him. In the illusion, there was a monster trying to kill him. Wang. The Tai Chi dragon plate around Wang Xian rotated slightly and neutralized the attack of the crazed demon seal. The counterforce of the Tai Chi dragon plate struck back at the crazed demon seal. Wang. At this moment, the crazed demon seal stood up immediately. The horrifying aura of water and metal attributes on him surged towards the surroundings without any concealment. Around him, an ocean appeared out of nowhere. In the middle of the ocean, a golden mountain stood tall. The crazed demon seal stood on the golden mountain. The two horns on his head shone brightly and his body enlarged to millions of meters. The violent aura surged towards Wang Xian. You can't enter the invincible domain. The face of the crazed demon seal turned hideous as he spoke to Wang Xian. Hee, I didn't expect you to be waiting for me at the entrance. You really seek revenge for the smallest grievance. Wang Xian stared at him and sneered as he sensed his aura. The invincible domain is my territory. The pupils of the crazed demon seal twitched continuously. The black spots in his pupils gradually turned blood red. Boom. As soon as he finished his sentence, a horrifying giant starry sky beast flew out from his pupils. This giant starry sky beast had an incomparably huge white pupil that looked extremely horrifying. It charged directly at Wang Xian. Haha, your territory? Trash like you. I'm going to kill you today. Seeing the attack coming towards him, Wang Xian revealed a disdainful look. Swoosh. In the next moment, the unbeginning sacred wings appeared behind him. With the speed of a second-order universe sovereign, Wang Xian faced the giant starry sky beast. Damn, they're fighting already? They're fighting as soon as they meet. The aura of the crazed demon seal is so horrifying. Even a first-order universe sovereign can't match up to this aura, right? The battle has begun. It seems like the crazed demon seal wants to kill the Dragon King. The surrounding old monsters of the invincible domain were shocked when they saw the crazed demon seal and the Dragon King fighting. To fight as soon as they met, the crazed demon seal lived up to its name. Boom. Wang Xian flapped the unbeginning sacred wings. With a wave of his palm, the 5 elements grindstone appeared in his hand. With the 5 elements revolving on it, he smashed it towards the giant starry sky beast that was formed from condensed energy. Boom. The destructive force of the 5 elements grindstone engulfed the giant starry sky beast, causing it to crumble rapidly. Huh. Standing on the golden mountain, the crazed demon seal saw this scene. His pupils constricted as he opened his arms. Boom, boom, boom. Around him, the golden mountains flowed, and the shadows of giant beasts gradually appeared on the golden mountains. As they roared, dozens of incomparably huge golden mountains smashed towards Wang Xian. 5 elements, Khanate technique. Wang Xian moved and flew to the center of the 5 elements grindstone. He took a light step. The breakthrough of the five elements grindstone was similar to the Tai Chi dragon board. Not only did it increase his strength, but it also possessed terrifying abilities. Compared to the enhancement of the Tai Chi dragon board, the enhancement of the five elements grindstone was even stronger. After all, the five elements grindstone was a fusion of the five elements, which was superior to the fusion of light and darkness. Chapter 36-34. After the five elements grindstone had broken through, it had gained two terrifying abilities. First, Khanate method. The Khanate art, the five elemental grindstone, could condense a large number of Khanate numinous treasures after it was unleashed. These were Khanate numinous treasures that had been devoured by the grindstone. Since the beginning, the grindstone had devoured at least 3,000 Khanate spirit treasures. More than 3,000 was a huge number. What did it mean when more than 3,000 Khanate numinous treasures attacked at the same time? This move could instantly kill a first-order universe sovereign. As for the second move, it was even more powerful. Five Elements Extermination Plate. Five Elements Plate Destruction. This was the ability of the second move. As for how strong it was, Wang Xian had yet to demonstrate it. However, when Wang Xian executed the Khanate technique, the five elements grindstone beneath his feet vibrated slightly, and the shadows of Khanate spiritual treasures hovered around him. Five different attributes: sabers, spears, staffs, halberds, pagodas, whips. More than 3,000 innate spiritual treasures materialized. With a wave of his arm, they flew towards the dozens of golden mountains. Boom, boom, boom. The next moment, the sound of collision and explosion could be heard. Wang Xian stepped on the five elements grindstone and circled the Tai Chi dragon. With the unbeginning saint wings flapping, he charged towards the crazy demon seal. Boom, boom, boom. The attacks of the Khanate techniques and the phantoms of the Khanate spirit treasures smashed through the golden mountains. Only 1,000 Khanate spirit treasures were destroyed. The remaining 2,000 of them continued to attack the crazed demon forbidden land. So powerful. The expression of the crazy demon seal changed slightly at this moment. Looking at Wang Xian, who was right in front of him, the eye of Taboo twitched continuously. Enter my world. The black dots in his pupils began to expand rapidly, eventually enveloping his entire pupil. Wang Xian, who was charging over, felt the scenery around him changing rapidly. He was completely immersed in the ocean. The surrounding waves tumbled and a shadow swam rapidly within the sea. Wang Xian could sense that there was a giant star beast behind him that was about to devour him. All of this seemed like an illusion, but it was extremely real. A special space, or an illusion? Wang Xian scanned the surroundings with his dragon eyes as energy surged from his body. Bang! He let out a low roar, and the destructive energy rushed out in all directions. Ka. Walala. In the blink of an eye, the destructive power swept over, and the sea began to collapse. The shadow in the sea and the star behemoth behind it all collapsed. Everything was clear in front of Wang Xian. In front of him, the crazy devil seal floated there, and there were some bloodstains in his pupils. These bloodstains were extremely clear. Is that all you've got? If that's all, then you can die. Wang Xian stared coldly at the crazy demon seal. Crash! As soon as he finished speaking, his figure instantly appeared beside the crazy devil seal. His arm morphed into a dragon claw and swiped at his head. So fast, so powerful. The heart of the crazy devil seal thumped violently. His eyes were fixed on Wang Xian as he retreated. Too slow. Wang Xian extended his dragon claws and spoke with disdain. Roar, 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 scram. When the crazy devil seal saw this, he suddenly opened his mouth and roared. His expression was incomparably ferocious. At this moment, it was as if he had lost all reason. The golden horn released a beam of golden light that soared into the sky and attacked Wang Xian. Buzz. The Tai Chi dragon plate revolved around Wang Xian and energy gathered on his arm. He continued to swipe at the head of the crazy devil seal. Bam! The attack of the crazy devil seal landed on Wang Xian's dragon claw and was blocked by it. The rebound of the Tai Chi dragon plate instantly landed on his golden horn. Bam! Another deafening sound was heard. Large amounts of blood flowed out from his golden horn. The blue horn immediately released a glow and formed a powerful defense around it. Bam, bam, bam. But at this moment, the innate spiritual treasure's shadow smashed towards the blue defense. The strength that the crazy devil seal had displayed was at most comparable to a 5 elements grinder. However, once Wang Xian controlled the 5 elements grinder, he could easily suppress it. Not to mention, Wang Xian still had the Tai Chi dragon plate and the unbeginning sacred wings. Under such circumstances, the crazy devil seal had no way to resist at all. The water attribute defense was easily broken by Wang Xian. His dragon claws grabbed the huge golden horn. The crazy devil seal quickly retreated in an attempt to escape. But at the next moment, he let out a violent scream. The entire golden horn was ripped off by Wang Xian and separated from his head. However, even though he was screaming in pain, his body was still being pushed back and sent flying. At the same time, his eyes became deeper as though there was a special space within them. Within the space, a horrifying giant galactic beast tore out from within. Huh. Seeing this, Wang Xian raised his eyebrows slightly. SSS? This Dragon King is really strong. He actually tore off a horn of the crazy devil seal in such a short time. The strength of this Dragon King is really terrifying. The crazy devil seal isn't a match for the Dragon King at all. How is this possible? How can the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace have such a strong foundation? The Dragon King has such terrifying speed and powerful treasures. The crazy demon seal has fallen into a disadvantageous position in an instant. However, the forbidden eye of the crazy demon seal has been completely opened. It is said that the forbidden eye of the crazy demon seal has absorbed a powerful giant star beast. This giant star beast can enhance his energy and can also be summoned. What a horrifying aftermath of the battle. It feels like we can be killed by the aftermath if we get close. The strength of the Dragon King is much stronger than we imagined. No wonder the old scholar, Demon King Tai Shui, and the sorcerers from the Black Tower were killed by him. The surrounding 100-old monsters of the invincible domain were shocked to see the battle between Wang Xian and the crazy devil seal. They were shocked by the horrifying combat strength of the Dragon King. The other party was the crazy devil seal. Yet, he was suppressed in an instant and even tore off a golden horn. This strength is too horrifying. No wonder the Dragon King dares to say that he can sweep through the invincible domain. This strength. The group of old monsters looked on with flickering eyes. This giant galactic beast? Wang Xian stared at the giant galactic beast that flew out from the hole of the crazy devil seal. It was hundreds of thousands of kilometers long and looked like a tortoise. It was filled with a heavy aura. The crazy devil seal stood above the giant galactic beast. With a swing of his arm, an incomparably huge golden rod appeared in his hand. An inborn cardinal treasure level rod. Kill, kill, kill. I'm going to kill you, he roared crazily. The giant galactic beast beneath him charged towards Wang Xian. Heh, this is your trump card? In that case, you can die now. Wang Xian sneered as his dragon eyes flickered. Dragon eyes lock on all directions.